welcome everybody to episode 5 of the Regular Guys Wrestling Podcast. The RGW is in the house. It is Wednesday, March the 1st, actually, unbelievably. It's already March. It's pretty crazy. So we're actually doing this on time this week. Last week, due to the Randy Orton flu, we were a little bit off schedule, but we are back. And we are ready to go. Sitting across from me, as always, is my good buddy Eric. How you doing, Eric?
Doing swell. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing swell as well. Doing just fine, thanks. So yeah, it's episode 5. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go. We got 2 guests with us today, as promised last week. We've got our good buddy Rick in the house.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And we've got a surprise guest for you, the Mind of Wrestling, James's younger brother, Tyler.
Tyler the Mind. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect.
Yeah, looking forward to some awesome conversation today. As mentioned last week, not only is Tyler awesome with wrestling knowledge, Rick has got wrestling knowledge and some wicked MMA knowledge. So we're going to be talking a little bit of MMA in addition to, of course, pro wrestling today.
Mixed martial arts, is that what it stands for?
It is. It is. So as per the norm, today's show is going to start off with the rumors of the week. Then we're going to walk on over into some topics of discussion. We actually got some really interesting ones to discuss today. And we're going to end the show off with a review/recap of Monday Night Raw. James, are you doing your SmackDown Rush today, or are you nixing it?
No, you know what? I've actually got some notes, and I'm going to try my best to actually make this a SmackDown Rush, not a SmackDown half hour.
Not a 30-minute SmackDown Rush this time?
Right. Like last week? No, I'm going to try my best to keep it short. So why don't we get started talking about rumors of the week? Once again, we'd like to thank CagesideSeats.com for some of these. We also pull in from LordsOfPain.net.
Inquisitor.
As well as the Inquisitor, WrestlingRumors.net, Sportskeeda, as well as PW Insider. So
all over the map.
This week. Map, yep.
Cool. Well, let's start off with rumor number 1. According to a February 25th article on the Inquisitor, Diamond Dallas Page is supposedly being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame by none other than his long-term friend, Eric Bischoff.
Is supposedly a word? Eric Bischoff is going to be inducting DDP? Supposedly.
Supposedly.
That's what I thought it was, but that's okay.
What's your thoughts, guys? It's a little weird to me. I was thinking more of a Jake Roberts or Scott Hall would have been a little bit more suitable. I don't know.
I think that's a good idea. Pretty sure they've been buddies a long time. They've got a good relationship with each other. Yeah, honestly, I don't see a problem with it.
I didn't even know they were friends.
Yeah, they've been friends for a long time.
Actually, in WCW days, I can't remember exactly when it was kind of in the timeline, but I think they were actually neighbors. They actually lived next to each other.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy, but yeah. But no, you're right. They've got a good history. They're good friends.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's who he wants to have him inducted by, I mean, that's his choice.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, as a wrestling fan, there's bigger choices. There's more influential wrestlers that could probably do a better job. Eric Bischoff seems to be the man. That's the pick that we're going with.
If that's what makes DDP happy, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, exactly. Because they do pick their own people, right? Like, like when Kurt Angle is inducted. I know there's been talk of a few different people. I think John Cena was the last I heard, right?
Cena and Austin was his picks.
Cena and Austin were the two picks.
I think it's going to be Cena.
I think it'll be Cena, yeah.
I think so.
Since he broke in.
Yeah.
Or Taker.
That was a third guy. Yep, he wanted Taker as well.
Really, Taker?
Yeah, I know he had storylines with him. There's a big respect thing, you know.
Yeah, they were definitely boys back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they traveled together. They were longtime good friends, and they've had some good matches together. So I mean, possibilities are endless.
You could say Taker was even in his prime back then, so they had some pretty good matches, those two.
To be honest, I don't even remember them wrestling.
Yeah,
I don't remember the
you don't remember the milk and the bike, the scooter? Him pulling it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was that kind of stuff.
They had that really great match on SmackDown where it was for the title, and it was Undertaker had him was going for the last ride. This is back in the American Badass days. Mm-hmm. and he had him in the last ride, and Kurt Angle had him caught him in a triangle choke.
Oh.
And he kind of softly landed because he was getting him, but the referee was kind of counting Kurt Angle's kick, because his shoulders are down and his legs were up, and as the referee was counting 3, Undertaker was tapping out to that triangle choke.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It was a really good match.
Going back to the MMA roots, those two guys probably have the most MMA roots out of anybody other than maybe Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
They probably use the most MMA moves, MMA related. Wrestling's a big thing of MMA. That goes hand in hand. But
He's an Olympic gold medalist. So.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, like when Taker and Kane were teaming, Austin and Triple H had that awesome team going on. And
A
they
two-man power trip.
Yeah,
That's one of my top
That's
3
right.
teams, by the way.
Oh man, you know what? I wonder where that would have gone
It was
if
wicked.
Triple H hadn't snapped his quad.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Those were 2 big names that they just smashed together.
Yeah,
So.
like that was back when snapping your quad was cool.
It was. And, Nash kind of just ruined all that.
Just did it to death.
Did Nash do it to death, or did Vince do it when he
Vince,
snapped
the
them
double.
both at the same
Both at the
time?
same time.
that
Double
was
snap.
magical.
That was magical. And he just sat there. He just played it off.
Yep.
Like he tried to stand up, and he's just like, "Nope." But I'm just gonna.
Get off
And
me.
watch that
No
over
one
and over.
help me.
Batista said that was a pretty funny one to watch.
Yeah.
No one knew what was going on at the time. Vince was just
Oh,
sitting there
man.
with pants full of crap.
Does that happen when you snap your quad?
I'd imagine they're connected.
Yeah,
Shut myself.
just has lumpy tights. All right. Next on the list here, we've got a rumor here about Matt Hardy. It's been confirmed, of course, by Matt Hardy on Twitter that he's no longer with TNA. Could we actually see him in the WWE anytime soon? And then if we do, what version of Matt Hardy will we actually see?
Definitely current. I think right now is probably his biggest push to date, where his characters mattered the most. So I think to try to change it at this point in his career would be a big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I would say that he would probably start off just going back to the Hardy Boy thing, and then maybe if he stayed there longer than just like a stint of like a month or so,
Mhm.
then maybe kind of grow into the
Kind of ease into the broken.
yeah.
Something that would have to happen.
Yeah,
kind of trigger
because I think they just like nostalgia and all that. They'd go back. They'd have like maybe the Hardy Boys music, and they'd maybe even try to. Well, maybe they wouldn't dress in the tight clothing.
Well,
but
is
they'd-
Jeff coming with him?
That's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Like
That's
all
the
the
question.
rumors talk about Matt, but you don't actually hear anything about Jeff.
Pretty interesting. Hey, things sure have changed for those two. Like Matt seems to be the higher guy now, and Jeff's kind of the lower man on the totem pole. The thing is too, and we've discussed this, where it's a bit of a pride thing with WWE, bringing in Matt Hardy with the broken Matt Hardy gimmick, even transitioning him as Tyler had said later on, would basically be admitting that TNA came up with something before we did. Whereas they could do the V1 or whatever they want to do with Matt Hardy, and I don't know. The only thing is he's at his prime right now when it comes to that character.
Yeah.
So maybe if TNA doesn't have some sort of a patent on that character, which they
Well, you
probably
can't
don't.
patent a character.
Really?
You can patent a name, but you can't patent a character. So if he comes over and he still wants...
you're like Kennedy. You just had to change
Dudley
it to
Boys are a prime
Anderson.
example. They just changed lettering. That's all
Yeah.
they did. They were still the
Right.
Dudley Boys.
They were Team 3D.
Team 3D,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then it was brother Ray
Yeah.
and brother Devon. And they can call him Devon because that's actually his name, because his
Yeah.
name's Devon, so he can call himself Devon.
Yeah, I think they called him. I think it was spelled DEVON as
I-
opposed to D.
I think it was
dash VON.
Dash VON.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you're right.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then when Spike came in later, it was Brother Runt.
right.
Everyone knew it was Spike, but they call him Runt.
That's right, yeah. Actually, just to kind of jump on that, I was just reading this today on lordsofpain.net that it sounds like, according to his wife, no matter where he lands, whether it be WWE, which is, of course, the most likely, they also have like working relationships, the Hardy Boys, with Ring of Honor. Actually, I think they are fighting the Young Bucks in the Ring of Honor for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships later this month, I believe. So, yeah. So, anyways, they're probably going to show up in WWE. But one thing about it too is that they're still actually the tag team champions in TNA. So they're going to have to try to figure out how that's going to work. Are they just going to strip them on TNA rather, or
TMA?
TMA? Too much action?
Too much.
I wouldn't go that far, boys.
Cool.
So, anyways, yeah. So likely WWE, but she's saying that wherever he goes, the broken gimmick is coming with him.
Sweet.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, so rumor number 3. According to PW Insider, Finn Balor will be making his in-ring return at the March 26th house show in Toronto, apparently in a 6-man tag, where he's going to be teaming up with Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn to face Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and Triple H. I don't know. I could see this changing. What's your thoughts on that?
He is also going to come down to the ring wearing overalls and holding a pitchfork. Finn Balor.
Balor?
It's Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Thanks, James.
Tyler and I looked at each other like,
I was like, is that Luke Harper?
Keeping him honest. Got to keep him honest.
Yeah.
Luke Happa. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. There's actually talk of him returning next week on Raw. Apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, he's ready to go anytime now. So that could happen. What is it? March 26th house show in a 6-man tag. So I mean that'd be entertaining.
Yeah, probably not.
But that's his big return?
That's just his in-ring return. Yeah, because he could show up on Raw and yak a bit, talking about I'm gonna get back my Universal title after WrestleMania, blah blah blah.
Well, based
Ship
on the
sailed
fact
on him.
Based on the fact that I said his last name incorrectly, you can tell how interested I am in him.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's pretty crazy that they're going to fight. They're going against, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and Triple H?
Yeah, Triple H at a house show.
Teaming together? That's
And-
a crazy team in itself.
Yeah.
Just throwing all the heels and all the faces together, essentially.
Well, it's basically almost like the new Authority, I guess, eh? He's like the Punisher. It's like Samoa Joe.
Yeah, like the Destroyer, right?
Destroyer, right?
Well,
I
Rick,
did-
you agreed with me, right? You said his ship had sailed?
Yeah, but again, with the heel faction there, I did hear rumors that Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe would kind of align and be with Triple H and maybe the Authority. Maybe I mean that would be pretty crazy. Put those two together, and then eventually it's just it's the same thing with Chris Jericho. Put them together, only to have them break apart and have them feud later on.
It's always just basically a foil to create a feud for later on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that. And yeah, they'd make KO the face after that. Can't see Samoa Joe going face anytime soon.
No, he's gonna be heel for a long time.
Yeah, he seems more comfortable in that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, KO is right now. He's like full on heel.
Full on, yeah.
Full on heel. Like he's not the.
He was a
cool
tweener
heel.
before.
He was, but now he's just.
I don't
straight
think I
up.
remember the last time a heel turned heel, and Kevin Owens did it in Vegas that night. So
Yeah, no, he did a great job, and he's doing a good job right now too. All right, so next up we've got here, we've got a rumor on Kurt Angle. We've got Kurt Angle will be returning to WWE television after WrestleMania and could be replacing Mick Foley as GM of Raw. On Raw, there's been all kinds of things going on, hints being dropped, of course, that Mick Foley, is going to be out on his butt as general manager. So that makes sense. I just read today as well, according to PW Insider, he's actually going to be returning to WWE TV. He's obviously going to be at the Hall of Fame WrestleMania weekend, and he'll show up on the show at WrestleMania as a Hall of Famer, but he's actually going to be showing up on Raw after WrestleMania. That's the rumor right now. So I can only imagine the GM role playing a part in that.
I'm happy to see Angle return to the WWE. That's awesome. I want to see him wrestle though. But if it has to be as a general manager, so be it.
For his health, that's probably the best role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't see him like coming back and wrestling even a schedule as wrestling as often as Brock Lesnar.
No.
Like he'd be wrestling I'm thinking 2-3 matches tops.
Well, he wants to wrestle, so I could see more than 3. That's the thing.
Yeah, possibly, I guess, but
I see that the Sting came to the WWE. I'm not sure how much he really wanted to wrestle. Like, I could be wrong about that.
also quite a bit older too.
Oh yeah.
And he's not really built like Kurt Angle. I mean, he's just got a different build.
True.
And Kurt Angle, I'm not even 100% certain he's human.
Well, he's broke his neck 5 times.
He won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
That's right. Broken neck number 1.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of
So,
5.
One of
one
five.
of 5. So, Tyler, what do you think?
I think. Yeah, out of the GM, like he was the SmackDown general manager. Like, was that 2003?
I think it was in
Somewhere around
Winnipeg for that SmackDown.
I was
Live.
there too.
2003?
Yeah.
I think it was
With
2003.
who is
No,
the
maybe it
guy
was 2000
pushing
yeah,
the
oh,
wheelchair?
just after WrestleMania 20, I guess. Yeah, he's the general manager, and I wasn't feeling it. I didn't
No.
really like it, but he was only general manager for about 6 months. Kind of, I guess it was because it was after that Eddie Guerrero match they had at WrestleMania 20.
Okay.
And because he I don't know, he broke his neck again, and he was general manager. I wasn't feeling it, but it only lasted for about 6 months.
Luther Reigns was his name, by the way.
Luther Reigns, that's
Yeah,
right.
he's a bodyguard.
Yeah, that was his
Oh yeah,
bodyguard.
Luther Reigns. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Indies, he was called Horseshoe.
Really?
Yeah, because he had a haircut. It was like a horseshoe around his head.
He's just an actor now.
Luther Reigns.
Yep.
Yeah. Luther. Yeah. I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if he talks to his cousin Roman very often.
It's possible. There's that.
Yeah. Are they cousins or brothers? I'm not sure.
I think father and son.
Could be.
Yes.
Yeah. His Roman. This is for you, Dad.
I love you, Luther.
Love you, Luther.
Luther's watching like this single like bachelor apartment. He's all sad. He's like, "That's my son out there."
I got kids.
Oh man.
All right. Well, last rumor for the night. Apparently, according to WWE Info, they are unsure on which match will be closing WrestleMania out as of yet. I don't know.
Cena, Nikki versus Miz, Maurice. Main event.
I think it's too soon to tell.
Probably not.
I think it's too soon to tell which match would close. Although I could see Goldberg and Lesnar.
Well, it's going to be a title match for sure. So I think it really depends on the outcome of Fastlane. Like if Goldberg wins the title, which we kind of think he will.
I think so.
There's definitely a possibility that he won't. Like I'm not really 100% certain who's going to win. Sometimes you can just tell. Like Bray Wyatt, you had the feeling he was going to win just the way things were going. But you don't really know. So it kind of depends who wins that match at Fastlane.
I'd heard Vince wants those two to finish.
Goldberg,
it off,
Lesnar?
though.
Or
That's-
Lesnar?
I'd read that somewhere.
Yeah, could be.
He's big on him.
So then Lesnar's getting the WrestleMania moment. I mean, at this stage in the game, there's many more wrestlers that deserve a WrestleMania moment. But given with Rollins being hurt and wherever they're going with that storyline and lack of real star power holding titles right now, I think is the big thing. And it makes sense for Goldberg to win the title, go on to Mania, lose it to Lesnar, and that'll be that.
So are we saying? So are we just going? Is it a foregone conclusion that Lesnar is winning this match?
So Goldberg's going to win, and then Lesnar's going to win the title? Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Well, no, you're just saying like, oh, Lesnar's going to have his moment. WrestleMania is Lesnar going to have the WrestleMania moment? Are we just going with Lesnar's going to win because?
I think that's the only choice that's given at this point. Someone's got to get the moment. Who's going to get it?
I still think Goldberg's probably going to beat Lesnar again. I don't think Lesnar's going to beat Goldberg.
You don't think
I think
Lesnar's
it's
gonna
just
get
one of
his
those.
win
I just think. Well, yeah, I think it's just
They're
one of
gonna
those
make it a
things.
thing,
I
yeah.
think it's one of those things that maybe he can't do it.
That's
could
a
be.
cool thought. It's come across my mind. I can't see Lesnar being okay with it, but I guess money talks, right? Like,
What other feuds have there been where they're like the guy just can't beat him?
well, everyone against Lesnar. John Cena beaten Brock Lesnar?
He won that match.
Which one?
Well, he didn't win the SummerSlam match, but they had
No, he got destroyed.
a no DQ match when Lesnar first came back, and he won the match. Cena won the match.
Didn't he barely win that match?
Well, he
yeah,
won.
Snuck it out.
And even Triple H, when he beat Lesnar many years ago, he gave him the pedigree, I believe, on the steel steps. He had a hard time beating Lesnar in that match.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Lesnar's never looked weak in a match until he fought Bill Goldberg
Yeah.
in 2000. Sorry, at WrestleMania 20, and the Royal Rumble and the last match they had. Goldberg's had his number every time.
Yeah.
I knew that Goldberg was going to beat him in WrestleMania 20 as well. I don't know what it was. It was just they were both leaving the company, but there was something about Lesnar was the heel, Goldberg was the face, although everyone hated him at the time. He's getting pops now. Everyone seems to like Goldberg. Things have changed.
They're over it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say. There's many different directions, which makes it exciting.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, on to our topics of discussion for the week. First thing I'd like to discuss is wrestling factions. So when you think of a wrestling faction, or at least myself, I think of groups like the Nation of Domination, Degeneration X, NWO, Evolution, Nexus, Bullet Club, Corporation, Corporate Ministry, things like that. Groups I don't really think of as three-man groups like The Shield or The New Day. Some may argue that the Wyatt family is a faction because there were 4 people in the group at one point. So my question to all of you guys is, could you see a wrestling faction coming about anytime soon within the next 1 to 2 years, a really big faction? Now when I think of the Nexus, for example, they were a faction. I just don't see them as a very successful faction compared to all the other groups I just named to you. But and who would you like to see in this faction in the current 2 rosters? Could you see it? Could you see a faction happening again?
I don't see.
It's hard to get a lot of guys together. It is. It is, and they got to click, right?
Yeah.
Like I think what the problem was with the Nexus. Those guys didn't. They were just from. Were they from NXT at the time, or were they from?
No, they were from the first season of NXT.
That was the first season.
Yeah.
Because some
of
these groups like DX, Nation, NWO, like that was big. NWO was starting to throw guys together at the end. Even the announcers didn't know who was in the NWO by the end. So,
yeah, NWO got a little out of hand, and I think that kind of has to do with the whole backstage environment of WCW more than
the
anything.
antics and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think Nash was running a lot of the show back then for a bit.
At that point, at the very beginning,
Both Nash and Hogan.
Nash was the booker there. Right? He got paid $500,000 just to book the show in addition to wrestle. So yeah, that's some knowledge I recently acquired. Yeah. I myself can't see it happening anytime soon. I think the closest was probably the Wyatts when they had 4. There was a rumor that they were going to bring in Sister Abigail for 5.
Yeah, it just never happened.
They all split up. Yeah. Probably for the best because Strowman is stronger than he's been ever. And I'd say Bray is doing very well as well. Harper, you may argue it. Eric Rowan, he's a bust. So,
although Eric Rowan is cleared for wrestling,
he is.
Could we see him come back to the Wyatts? Is Bray Wyatt a singles competitor, or does he need that group behind him to push him forward?
I'd like to see them all go in their own way, and Eric Rowan needs to be repackaged. In my opinion, I don't know.
I think Bray Wyatt does need some wrestling, someone just like to sick him, And I think Eric Rowan is that guy. I think he can when he comes back. I think he'll continue to be that guy.
Yeah, I think I agree because I think Wyatt does need that second in command. I mean, just him being on completely on his own. Does that character work as well? Because the whole premise behind his character is kind of like that whole master and slave kind of thing, right? So for him to just be on his own and not have a slave, as it were, I don't know if that necessarily works with his character.
Also, they broke Rowan off already and tried to do that funny, stupid gimmick that he had there for a while. It didn't work, and they just sent him back to the Wyatts to begin with. So, I mean, to get him back onto TV, it kind of seems the most logical way. But
well, it's brutal, and we discussed this. The Rock had his quickest WrestleMania match, or that may have been the quickest WrestleMania match ever. When he beat Eric Rowan last year. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that guy.
But as far as factions go, Wyatt's got to be the closest, and I really don't see, if you consider over top 4 members a faction, I can't see anything happening. Maybe like we talked about Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, Triple H, and throwing another member in there.
Yeah, that's true. The Authority, I guess, would be a faction.
I was thinking that exact same thing. I was going to bring that up. We were just talking about those 3 guys teaming together. I think that's the next thing to a faction. I think maybe even that's how to get some NXT guys. Just bring them up and put him with Triple H.
Well, if you're looking,
because he's kind of like the Godfather type guy, and they all adore him.
It could be
in NXT.
Yeah, so. It could be almost another Evolution style, because you've got your Triple H as the main guy, and then you've got You could call Samoa Joe the veteran enforcer, and then you've got Kevin Owens as. I don't know. I guess it's not exactly the same. And then, bring up a 4th guy from NXT.
Yeah.
you know, to kind of round it out.
'Cause
But
if
yeah,
you look
4.
up the Authority on Wikipedia, have you ever seen how many people have been part of the Authority since day one? It's ridiculous.
It probably is ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Like
all
they
over the
kind of
map.
just like, do they count them as members of the Authority if they only fought for like one match for
Oh,
them?
you'll.
Or?
You know,
'cause I think
you have J&J, and
Yeah.
you have Kane, and you have Orton, you have
That's-
Rollins. It's all over the place.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing.
Big Show.
I
I guess
guess I
he's
forgot
one
about-
of them. Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Big Show.
Yeah, he's
in
part
the
of it.
Authority. Yeah, he was in the. He was,
But to kind of have them, yeah, then they've all kind of, it's kind of been different times.
It is.
and kind of all over the place. But yeah, and if they do kind of team up like that, I don't want to see another Authority style. I just want to see guys, you know, taking over. I guess at this point, Triple H might even be more in a managerial role because he's not a full-time wrestler, right?
Well,
No.
not at all.
So, anyways, interesting. Aside from that, though, I don't really see any guys on the roster kind of coming together. Even, you know, 3 or even, like, definitely not 4, but even 3, I don't really see.
Well, I guess they
anybody
tried it with
currently.
the no-namers there too, with Bo Dallas and
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, Social Outcasts.
Social
Social
Outcasts.
Outcasts,
Yeah,
but
then
that
one got
went nowhere.
fired, and
nowhere quick.
So actually, that is the last.
that would be a
Right.
faction.
Faction.
That would be the last faction. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Bo Dallas. I wonder if he might somehow go over to SmackDown and be with his brother.
We were talking about. He's growing out his beard.
Mhm.
He's got the greasy hair. You know. Just throw him in a flannel shirt and some jeans with holes in them. You got yourself a Wyatt.
He's got the anger. It seems they got to put him in the right scenario, and I think he'd flourish.
Yeah. Luke Harper could just lend him a shirt.
I don't know, sure. It might look a little big on him, but you know.
might have
Some
to
of his
share the one
glue
shirt
some of
thing.
his beard hair.
A la Cartman.
So, all right, yeah, I see that's where that stands. Here's another question for you, different topic altogether. So there was talks a little while ago. It's been a while now about there was rumors that WWE was at one point interested in purchasing TNA solely for their tapes. So the question is, can you guys see any real reason that WWE would still be interested in TNA? Do you find that they'd still be profitable? Would they be profitable in purchasing TNA at any degree? And if they were to purchase them, excluding their tapes, is there any guys you think that they'd still be interested in that's currently on the TNA roster that you're aware of?
So are we, like, definitely, especially if Matt Hardy
Mhm.
or the Hardy Boys,
Let's exclude them as well because
Let's
they're former
exclude them,
WWE.
okay.
Yeah,
And they're no longer TNA.
they are no longer TNA.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I'm talking, like, the only guy I can think of myself is Abyss.
Oh,
And-
sorry. I was actually on a different thought pattern. But
Okay.
yeah, Abyss. Okay.
I've got one guy.
Okay. Who?
And it makes sense to actually bring him over, especially with Brock Lesnar not having a proper opponent. Bobby Lashley. How about that?
Yeah, I wish he was better on the mic. I guess he's improved over the years a little bit. He used
Yeah,
to
a
be
little bit.
pretty
I mean,
terrible.
I think he is the current TNA
He is.
heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
is, yeah.
and he jumps with Bellator, right? So
Yeah, and he actually fights on the side. So that's,
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
I think they probably couldn't use the same name, or even if they'd want to. But I like EC3.
EC3 was the guy I was
Ethan
thinking
Carter
of
the
too.
third.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to call him Ethan Carter the third anymore, but
Well,
you
if
can
they
still call him EC3. You don't have to care what it means.
Well, here,
I guess.
if let's say they'd actually purchased TNA and purchased some of these contracts, they could call him EC3. They could call him Ethan Carter the third.
yeah, that's true.
You're right.
because
They'll own the rights.
They'll own the rights to it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I just mean you wouldn't understand, like, why is he Ethan Carter the third? Like, because storyline wise, he's supposed to be like Dixie's nephew or something. But if there's
Mhm.
no Dixie, then who's Carter? And then are you supposed to, like? I'm just kind of trying to understand the logic if they were to do.
I
that.
could see them getting rid of the third part. Just
even Carter.
Ethan Carter. Maybe
Mhm.
just use his real name and be one of those.
The thing is, I don't think there's anybody from TNA that we're pining for that we need in WWE. I mean, there was when Sting was there. Sting was the guy in WCW that we needed in WWE, and look how that turned out for him.
They've got
I mean,
every-
and there's nobody.
They've got
Bobby
everyone.
Lashley would be my only
They've
guy.
got their Bobby Roode. They've got Kurt Angle. They've
Yep.
got Sting. They've got
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. The
AJ
short.
Styles.
Well, you watch. Yeah, you were when we used to watch old school TNA back when it was really good. They had AJ Styles, Samoa
Yeah.
Joe, Christopher Daniels, Kaz, Sabin, Shelley, Rude. They've got all those. They've got Styles. They've got Joe. They've got Rude. They've got.
They even had Scott Hall for a while
They had
there.
Scott.
That's the craziest part is that the faces that are running this place right now, TNA had in the palm of their hand.
Yeah.
They did.
And what was their choice? Let's bring Hogan and Bischoff back. Let's see how that does.
They even have what's his face there in NXT. That's in the Wyatt's gimmick there in NXT.
Oh, Eric Young, yeah.
Eric Young.
Yeah, Sanity, they call that.
Yeah.
Sanity?
Sanity, yeah, that's right.
Austin Aries, he was another guy that was in TNA.
That's
Austin
right, yeah.
Aries.
Austin Aries, yeah.
They have every single guy that may have the look or the mic skills or what. Yeah, they've cleaned the house.
There's a couple people in there that in TNA should be over in WWE. I'd like to put Jay Lethal on that list.
Well, Rude's old partner was there for.
Yep.
Oh, James Storm?
James Storm was there, and he bailed for, I think it was money. I don't think that was a good decision whatsoever. I disagree. You know,
for him going
sometimes
back
you
to
have to
TNA?
take a step back, to take 5 steps forward. I think he should have just sucked it up for a little bit and seen where he would have went. So I think he would have flourished in WWE.
Because he came to TNA, he came to NXT before Rude did, and Rude is now currently the NXT champion.
Oh yeah,
So he probably would have been the NXT champion.
Yeah.
Rude's might be coming to WWE post WrestleMania sometime. That
I
could have been James
can't
Storm.
wait.
yeah. You got to be patient.
It would have been glorious.
It will be glorious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also read recently that TNA, I think, is actually currently looking at doing all younger guys. They're looking strictly at younger guys, not any names at all, just trying to bring in probably from the indies, I guess, or maybe stick more with
I'll tell you one thing.
guys or
I'll tell you one thing. Lucha Underground is going to surpass TNA. With them signing with Netflix was probably the smartest thing that they could do as trying to be a number 2 show.
well, just the exposure alone
Yeah,
on
it's-
Netflix is going to be huge.
I found out today that Netflix occupies 1/3 of bandwidth on the internet.
Is that right?
1/3 of
That is
bandwidth
insane.
is occupied by Netflix. How crazy is that?
That's nuts.
So for Lucha Underground, smart thing.
So they're doing season 1 and 2. I think at the end of this month, it's going to be available on Netflix, season 1 and 2, and then I think season 3 will be on there anytime. Is there there's season 3 going right now? I think, right, Tyler? Do you know?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
and then I
season
think
3.
I read somewhere that the thought was have the second half of either season 3 or if there is a season 4, have the second half of one of those seasons actually record them all and then throw them on Netflix, or even do a weekly show. There's a couple of shows on Netflix where they do a weekly thing. So, anyways, huge to be on Netflix. Lucha Underground, they're gonna surpass TNA. I agree wholeheartedly.
Sweet. Well, we got before we jump into an MMA rumor or latest news, anyways. I understand there was some breaking news regarding Mr. Jack Swagger, James.
Yeah, just this past week, Jack Swagger actually called into Chael Sonnen's podcast there and revealed that he's actually asked for his release from the WWE. He called in, revealed he's requested his release, and it's kind of an ongoing process apparently. Basically, it came down to contract negotiations, and the two sides were way off. Swagger apparently told Chael that the company, or I guess he feels the company doesn't value him as much as he values himself, and it's time to go. And I can see that. I mean, they haven't utilized him seriously in how long?
Yeah, one of the most underrated wrestlers in that I can think of. He always has been. He's a machine. He's huge. He may not quite have the look. I've always thought that, but the skill and the size and the speed and the power, he's got it all. They gave him the world championship, I believe, but he was never the WWE champion.
Yeah, that was
He had a
he
real
won the
short.
Money
He had
in
a
the
real
Bank.
short
Yeah.
one.
Real short
run.
one.
And really early though too.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where he wasn't ready for it.
Well,
Not sure.
he was touted as the next Brock Lesnar when he came in.
Yeah.
He had all the hype of the NCAA wrestling credentials behind him, so he was touted as the next big thing. Just another guy that they push so high only to have him crash down.
Not
Yeah.
sure where his mic skills were at either.
That's a problem too, because he does have a little bit of a lisp when he talks. Not that matters, but I mean,
I think it does to an extent.
coming across to the fans is that's one of the most crucial things of being a wrestler.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times a little bit of a lisp is, especially in this tough guy environment of wrestling. It may be looked at as maybe he's not quite as tough.
Unless you're Mike Tyson.
Unless you're Mike Tyson. Yeah, Mike Tyson,
That's an exception.
he'll eat your ear.
Yes.
He will
Don't make
eat-
fun of his lisp.
No, do not do it. No. But yeah, so I mean, I think him going into, I don't think TNA is the right way for him. He's definitely expressed interest in doing some MMA if someone wants to show him the dollar signs.
I think I saw that he's also really interested in wrestling internationally. He wants to go to Japan and
Okay.
wrestle. He wants to go to UK and
Sure.
wrestle.
Yeah.
I think he'd do really good.
He could definitely build up his stock in Japan. It's not going to hurt him.
No.
It won't hurt him one
Well, that's
bit.
Cody Rhodes is doing.
Yep.
It's working great.
The American Nightmare. What can he call himself, Jack Swagger?
Cody Rhodes will be back in the WWE, and they're going to want him back.
What was Swagger before he came in?
He's the All-American American.
No, he had another name, I think.
No,
No, I
he
think
was
it
always
was-
Jack Swagger.
I think it was Jack Swagger.
he was ECW champion. He was Jack Swagger.
Yeah, his gimmick never really changed much.
No.
I don't believe.
What's Jock Swagger doing in the Impact Zone?
Yeah. Cool. All right. Last tidbit of rumors. So not so much a rumor anymore because it was announced shortly before our podcast.
Yeah,
but,
we write our notes obviously too early.
So into MMA mode, I guess George St Pierre has signed with the UFC, and it's been confirmed that he is going to be taking on Michael Bisping.
Michael Bisping.
for
Beautiful.
Was it the middleweight title?
Yeah.
It will be for the middleweight title.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be contested at 185. This will be George's first shot at the middleweight division, and
He's always fought welter, hey?
he's always fought welter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually toyed with the idea of going down to 155. So it's kind of surprising that he's going up to 185 for this belt. Does he deserve it at 185?
I could see it. He's pretty huge. He
Yes.
walks around heavy.
Tyler is the mind of wrestling, but in MMA, he's like,
He's like Ronda Rousey.
I know their names.
is Ken Shamrock still MMAing?
Where's Tank Abbott? What happened to Tank Abbott?
Tank Abbott.
The only thing I'm saying about that is I think George is jumping the line. Yoel Romero is definitely the number one contender for that middleweight title. But when you're George St. Pierre,
Oh, yeah.
you get what you want.
Yeah.
And if he wants a middleweight shot, I'm all for it.
I'm
Yeah,
down
the
with
name
him.
value is
Jump
what's
the
getting
line,
that
man.
shot.
Yep,
Jump the line.
Yep.
And there's additional rumors. After he faces Bisping, he could be going up against Anderson Silva, and I think everyone's dream. Well, that was the dream match, but I think the new dream match is Conor McGregor versus George St Pierre. I don't even know how much money that will make. It just blows my mind when I think of it.
See, at this point, to even throw the Connor versus GSP thing, I think it's so far off. I think we're struggling with the fact that he's going to be boxing next against Mayweather. I think that has to be nailed down before we even think about Conor McGregor ever fighting again. There's a reason that there's an interim 155-pound champion, and the reason that he dropped the 145-pound champion. I don't think we're going to see Conor McGregor in the octagon anytime soon. So I think we should just ride out the GSP fan wave here. There's a reason he got signed all of a sudden. They need the name value, and the only name value they have left is GSP.
What do you call GSP or Bisping for the fight in the end?
That's a tough one. Realistically, Bisping should smoke him. He's got the wrestling. He's got the striking. He'll be the bigger fighter. He's used to the middleweight cut. But GSP's another animal, too.
They're both gonna have nerves, different kind of nerves.
I think GSP will have a lot of nerves, and depending on where it is, if it's in Canada or not, that's a whole other ball game.
So we're talking summer again, right? Is that?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we're looking at summer, end of summer type thing.
Yeah.
And Bisping, he'll have no nerves. He never does. He's just one of those guys that comes out there, he fights, he puts on a performance, and if the fans love it, that's great. And if the fans hate it, that's even better.
He'll use it. Yeah. Yeah, I know we were saying earlier it's the classic face versus heel, right?
Yeah.
George is, you can't get much nicer of a guy in the UFC. Bisping was the classic heel, probably one of the, I wouldn't say one of the first guys to bring the heel. And there's a lot of older guys like Tank Abbott and whatnot that are always the bad guy. Just gonna use that because I know Tyler knows who he is. So, but it's fitting. It's just George has always been known to be a welterweight. Michael Bisping more of a welterweight, right? But no, it'll be cool. I'm gonna say GSP. It's a long run. I even think I dare say, if he fights Connor, I'd say George by then will outskill Connor.
He'll have some rust off of him. I think that might be the biggest problem against Bisping, is he's a little bit rusty. I mean, really though, I'm sure he's been training. I don't think this guy's ever out of shape.
I've heard that he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah.
That to the people that train with him, he looks just like he did back in the day, if
Yeah.
not better. So,
And if now
that's what we're looking to expect, I think we should see some good war.
Yeah, and now that it's being
I
announced.
think the Anderson fight will be boring. They will circle each other over and over and over. I don't think much will happen.
That's a 40-year-old Anderson Silva
Yeah.
that's going to be getting taken down for 5 rounds.
Yeah, that's
light on top and ground and pound. It's not going to be a pretty match. It wasn't a good matchup for him back in the day. It's not a good matchup for him now.
Well, back in the day, so I think George would win that match. Anderson's beatable now. He used to be invincible. Back in the day, I would have said Anderson will knock out George St Pierre.
Well, with his striking back then,
yeah.
it was so crisp
Front
and flawless, and nobody had the question to his answers. Nobody.
Anderson was the man, unfortunately, but compared to GSP, because fellow Canadian, but I don't know. Let's see what happens. There was even rumors beforehand. At least I heard this on Chael's podcast from Joel, but that Nick Diaz was rumored to be his first fight. I didn't want to see it. They've already fought.
Yeah.
I'd rather anything over nothing. It would still be entertaining. It's Nick Diaz, right? The Diaz bros are awesome when it comes to smack talk, but we'll have a different kind of smack talk. A Michael Bisping smack talk.
I'd honestly think there's more smack talk with Bisping than Diaz.
It's different,
Michael
eh?
Bisping. I'm a big fan of Michael.
I like him.
Yeah.
Michael Bisping.
Yeah. Well, the Diaz bros, again, they're also known to be heels, always have been, but
Don't like them.
different kind of a heel.
Yeah, thug
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah, exactly. More thug. Bisping, very pro wrestling.
Bisping's smart. He's a
Yes.
very smart fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a point fighter. He'll break you down by points, and he'll finish you, apparently, knocking out Luke Rockhold, finishing
Yeah.
Anderson Silva. Well, no, that wasn't really a finish, but went 5 rounds with Anderson Silva and beat him.
Yeah. Now, Anderson was at his prime, but still.
But he still got a win over
Sure.
Anderson Silva, Luke Rockhold. Like the list goes on and on. Bisping's for real, and this is his time, I think.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Okay, it is time to start our review here of the February 27th edition of Monday Night Raw. That was this past Monday. And, we're going to start chatting about it and hopefully get through this in a timely fashion. We'll see how it goes. Raw starts off. It was a Goldberg and KO segment.
Yeah. I guess Goldberg started off in the middle of the ring, addressing the crowd, thanking them, shaking babies' hands as usual.
He was, yeah.
Shaking hands, kissing babies.
Kissing
Lots
babies.
of Goldberg chants.
Yeah.
I'm
Goldberg's hot
honestly
right now.
done with Goldberg.
Oh, yeah?
You're done.
Ow.
Well,
This was
fast.
quick. This was quick.
I'm sorry. Like he came back, he did his thing, and now he's just continuing on with his thing, and it just seems like he's catering to the fans a little bit too much. I kind of
Is-
want to see him get destroyed.
Is his gimmick kind of a superhero gimmick?
Yeah.
It is, eh?
Well, he's
Kinda,
talked
yeah.
about it. He wants to be that Superman guy,
Yeah, and-
to his kids, to the fans.
Yeah, and like the way he interacts with the children in the crowd,
Yep.
it's like he acts like they're his own kids. Like he's probably nicer to the crowd than Cena is to the crowd. I don't know. I think it's kind of his gimmick.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like he talks about he wants to win the title in front of his son, and I talked about promises. He's always keeping his promises. Promises he's going to beat KO at Fastlane. Promises he's going to beat Lesnar at WrestleMania. He's definitely full on face.
But we say his segments are generally getting better, but I don't think he did very well.
I disagree. I think they're going downhill.
Well, this one he did not do well. He basically seemed lost. He was basically mentioning, KO in his nice suit with his nice spotlight, and KO talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. He said that, and I was like, you don't know what to say on the mic right now. You're filling time by saying and talked and talked. So I guess when Kevin Owens came out, he pointed it out because he's like, I really appreciate, Goldberg, you pointing out my nice suit and my nice spotlight. But I don't know. It was kind of funny. It was also funny that KO came out and he's like, well, I see you're in a good mood. And it's like, too much memorizing. I think script memorization causes that, where you'll just say a different word as opposed to, I don't know. Who says mool?
You know, sometimes I'm reading things and I have to read them out loud, and I say the wrong word, and I'm looking right at it. So sometimes trying to actually memorize that same thing, or if you're trying to like sing a song lyric or something, and you think you know what it is, but you just say, or you do know what it is, but for whatever reason you sing the wrong word. That happens a lot, and I think that is partially due to the memorization, or I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, so he said when he came to the WWE, he was going to make an impact, and he said he made due to that promise. He says, I've beaten the likes of John Cena, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, and he looks at Goldberg. Goldberg, you're next, but not you're next as in your crappy saying. He says, you're next at Fastlane when it comes to adding to my legacy. So that was kind of solid. Kevin Owens kind of shone a little bit more than Bill Goldberg when it came to the mic work.
I guess we're kind of supposed to forget that Dean Ambrose actually kind of won that feud. So,
yeah, well, he's a heel.
we kind of forgot about that.
He's a heel, though,
Yeah.
right? So he's going to point out that he at least beat him once.
Although Goldberg kind of could have mentioned his accolades. His names are bigger than
Well, yeah.
Kevin Owens' names.
'Cause he named
DDP,
5
Hogan,
guys.
Scott Hall, 175 other guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hugh Morris,
Hugh
19
Morris,
times.
19 times. Barbarian, 26.
Jericho.
Jericho a couple times. Nash a couple times.
Yeah,
Giant a couple
The
times.
Rock.
Yeah, but he's the face, so he can't be gloating.
No,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
That kind of comes off as bad. But yeah, anyways, the segment kind of ends there, and KO says, "All right, you want some of me? I'm gonna come down. Let's fight. Let's have a Green Bay street fight. Green Bay street fight.
Green Bay.
Green Bay? You don't deserve it."
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
That was
That was
awesome.
good
Classic,
stuff.
classic heel move. Classic.
Yeah.
While Goldberg continued to do his little golf clap in the middle of the ring to the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. But, no, it was good. Heel there.
Look how easy it is to mess up the words. I said Green Day instead of Green Bay.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
So, anyways, I want to apologize for making fun of your pronunciation
It's okay.
of Finn Balor
Our-
earlier today.
Our audience forgives you,
Oh,
James.
good. I'm glad.
I hope you don't feel like an American idiot.
Oh, wow.
Too soon?
That was sweet. just flew in there. Okay, so next
Actually,
up.
I feel like Dookie.
Dude, oh, jeez.
Just don't walk along the Boulevard of Broken Dreams trying to figure that one out. That felt
Green Day
worse.
songs.
Next up was James's favorite tag team of all time, The New Day,
I skipped this. I didn't even watch it.
versus the Shining Stars.
Woo!
Oh, this
There's a
was-
pee break.
Well, it turns out it wasn't the Shining Stars, because when New Day was in the middle of the ring, they decided to pull off the old Oscars jab. So I don't know if you watched the Oscars or saw the ending of the Oscars, but
I did watch the Oscars.
There was a mistake.
I skipped the New Day segment.
Yeah, well,
You
there was.
watched 4.5 hours,
there
but you
is-
didn't watch 2 seconds.
You didn't watch 2 seconds. So there was that mistake in the Oscars where they announced the wrong. Was
Yeah.
it the movie of
Best
the year?
Picture, yeah.
Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
awkward.
they actually copied that
Yeah.
and stopped the Shining Stars midway down the ramp and said, "Oh wait, you're not wrestling us tonight." And they're passed a nomination card,
Wow.
and they show the crowd, "Look, it's actually Rusev and Hardbody Jinder Mahal."
Hard Body Mahal.
Hardbody Mahal.
Handsome Rusev and
Handsome
Hard Body
Rusev.
Mahal.
Hardbody Mahal.
Jeez.
For some reason I like that. Hardbody Mahal. It's a good name.
Yeah.
That guy's a machine now, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize how tall he was, actually.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
big.
He's
big.
jacked.
He's a big dude, yeah.
But anyways, so that match was absolutely forgettable.
I did actually see the very ending of that match, and it was a roll-up. Lots of roll-ups these days, hey?
Well, yeah, a lot of roll-ups and a lot of distractions because it was Kofi, your buddy Tyler, your favorite wrestler in the world. That was
Big Kofi fan up in this.
he's the Kofi man, and he was basically distracting Lana and Rusev on the outside.
Yeah.
And Mahal got rolled up by
okay.
one of the
One
two
of
others.
them. Yeah.
And that was the match.
Well, they kind of
Okay.
teased a breakup with Handsome Rusev and Hard Body Mahal. Actually, they were kind of
Already?
a little infighting. Yeah, no
They
tag team
just
championship
started
glory
like 2
for
months
them.
ago.
Sorry,
If
guys.
They've had such a long, illustrious
Yeah, they're
relationship.
done.
Oh my!
How ba-
7 weeks.
How bad is Rusev getting the shovel on all these matchups? Like, he always just seems to get put with somebody that's not doing anything.
They could have really pushed that guy. I don't know why
Yeah.
he's getting the jabs on
I
this
don't
one.
know. I guess there's only so much space, and when you've got Goldberg in there, and you got KO, and you've
we
got
have
Chris Jericho coming in.
3.5 hours to fill.
But he wrestled Cena at
Yeah,
WrestleMania a few years ago.
Last year, I think, wasn't it?
No,
Was it 2
31.
years?
31.
So 2 years
31,
ago. Okay.
but that's pretty big. And now look where he's gotten to.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. Especially you got two.
well, a
You
weird
got two
one.
shows.
Here's a weird one. Though.
Yeah.
Miz fought Cena many years ago. We
Yeah.
discussed this before.
That's right.
And he went downhill. Kind of has gone uphill a little bit, and now
Yeah,
he's going
stock's
to be
risen.
fighting Cena again, possibly.
Miz is a tricky one.
Yeah.
He's he's real good on the mic. He is very underrated on the mic.
He's very good on the mic. I agree. Like I've kind of mentioned that he's very similar to that of Jericho on the mic.
Yep.
Just, I don't know. Yeah, I never was a huge fan of his, but he has improved. I agree.
Yeah, if there was a time for the Miz where he was very annoying on the mic,
Yeah.
where
Almost
that's
too annoying.
Yeah, and that's changed in the last few months for sure.
Oh,
It's good.
he's got some big
Stock's
promos.
risen.
Like his promo against Daniel Bryan was probably the best in his career. And the stuff that he's doing with Cena on this past SmackDown was pretty good as well.
Mhm.
Cool. Next segment was Enzo and Big Cass backstage. So I may be wrong about this. Correct me if I am wrong. I think they're actually hinting a future breakup with these two guys. The reason why I'm saying that is Enzo was bragging, as he normally does in his own kind of way, that he was, he was going to wear the tag team championship belt everywhere they go, everywhere. And
I like that.
yeah, I know you do.
Wearing the
around
belts.
the waist. That's
I'm a huge fan of wearing the belt, even when you're not wrestling.
So Cass remained quiet as he was, freaking out and all about this. And he stopped him in his tracks, and he reminded him that they needed to stay focused. And Enzo continued to be annoying, saying, yeah, focus. We got to remain focused. And he shook his head, frustrated, and walked away on him. And I was like, I think that's how
That
it
could
all
be the
starts.
start. Yeah.
Well, because I find the crowd has gotten annoyed with Enzo often. Maybe not the younger crowd. Like, do you notice it? Like, even the commentators, like, even the face commentators will say sometimes. And Sheamus last week gave him the big boot from the. Was that this week or last
That was
week?
last week.
Last week. He gave him the boot from the side, and everyone started chanting, "Thank you, Sheamus."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, was that the match when Enzo screwed up a bunch of times too? And maybe they just noticed it, and they noticed they kind of noticed how bad he is at wrestling.
Oh, I don't really
Yeah, he's
remember.
not
Green
very
is.
good at
No,
green.
because
I don't remember.
there's a couple times where Cesaro punched him, and he kind of he's supposed to go over the top rope, but then he kind of just bounced on it, and then he kind of just threw himself over the top rope. And there was another part where Cesaro was trying to pick him up from the ground, and they did 2 or 3 times, and Enzo didn't really know what he was doing. And then you can kind of clearly hear Enzo saying, "Okay, one more time," and then they finally did it.
yeah, no, and even backstage.
Oh.
Backstage too, Big Cass was saying, remember Anderson and Gallows have won belts all around the globe, and he says, for all the work you and I have done in NXT, all of it means nothing if we don't have those belts. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm overlooking this. I could see, and I'm guessing they would unfortunately make Cass the heel because he'll probably just turn on Enzo. I don't like Enzo. I kind of like Cass. Maybe in
He's okay, yeah.
a bit of a tweaked role.
Kind of a Mike Awesome type feel to him.
Yeah, I agree. But Enzo is a waste to me. I not interested.
Yeah,
at all.
his catchphrases, they get real old real fast. Same thing like New Day.
Yeah.
Just played out real
The crowd is
fast.
still loving the catchphrases, though.
Yeah, that's only because he came out with a new one. The cup of haters.
Yeah.
New as in,
It's going to get played out
WrestleMania.
fast.
Okay. Anyway, no, I don't think they're gonna break up anytime soon. I think they're just kind of almost like a kind of back and forth kind of guys, because they kind of did that in NXT when they were together, and Cass would just kind of walk away with that annoyed look. They
He
just
kind of neutralizes
yeah, he kinda
Enzo's immaturity.
Yeah, they're kind of just like that. They're almost like an old
Two
married
brothers?
couple,
Yeah,
almost,
yeah.
where they just kind of ugh. get away, and
I
then
could
he
see
kind
what
of
you
walks off, but he still likes him, and they're still buddies. I think they'll be together for a while.
I don't think they should really if you're gonna keep them both in WWE for some time. I really don't think they should be breaking them up at all. I think for sure right now Cass needs Enzo. I don't think his mic skills are quite up to snuff for him to really be successful in a singles role just yet. He needs that mouthpiece as Enzo. But I don't think Enzo really in the ring really brings anything to the table really helps make Cass shine.
Well, Enzo is the mic and Cass is the wrestling.
Well, they're kind of that old school tag team where Enzo kind of gets beat on, and then he kind of gets then Cass gets the hot tag, and then he clears the ring and stuff and gets the pin, and then he sets up that boom shakalaka bada bing boom shakalaka.
That splash?
Yeah.
That awful splash.
Yeah, it's not even a very good splash.
Is that what it's called?
It's really terrible. It's a really terrible name like that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's got too much of.
Okay. Well, we moved over from that amazing match to Sheamus. Well, it wasn't really a match, but Sheamus and Cesaro segment. There was a lot of segments on this Raw. I just want to quickly mention
Lots
that.
of backstage segments.
Almost more segments than matches.
Well, that's the lead up to Mania, though. That's what they got to do.
Oh, is that what it's all about?
Yeah, it's. You'll notice the last Raw before Mania is probably the worst because it's all planned, it's all ready to go. It's all laid out. Let's do it. Mania
True.
time.
And this was the last one before Fastlane, so it's kind of the same thing, right?
That's how they're throwing the matches together.
They're kind of making the stories, trying to make them pop.
Just filler program, really.
Yeah.
So, Sheamus and Cesaro segment with Samoa Joe. Basically, Samoa Joe, Cesaro trading verbal blows with one another. I was basically mentioning. I noted that they just appear to be giving someone else to Joe for a storyline. I think that was just a Raw thing because, as we'll discuss later, it ended with Sami Zayn anyways. So. Yeah,
and I mean they've definitely got history. They fought each other in Ring of Honor, and they probably in other indie organizations.
Yeah,
as well.
I kind of think I think that's just kind of what they were hinting at, and this was kind of just maybe an indie fanboy dream match, so to say. Because they kind of mentioned that, we've wrestled all over the world. And
they've definitely had battles before.
Yeah.
Well, I think it might have been Ring of Honor.
Probably. Back to Cesaro had hair back then.
Back when he was calling him Claudio.
Claudio Castellano.
Yeah.
Next segment, Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon.
I just want to point out that I skipped it completely.
Did you?
Did not watch this. No, I don't. I honestly don't want to hear Stephanie McMahon at all.
Yeah.
She makes me want to change the channel.
It's very awkward.
Well, it seems like a shoot almost. She seems really nasty, but I
To
don't know.
everybody though.
To everybody,
Yeah.
and she was super nasty to Foley. I think he's almost done. Every time we have our podcast, James and I talk about Mick Foley and how it seems like it's getting closer and closer till he's done. And it seems to really be, from a storyline perspective, it seems to be really hurting his feelings now because no one's respecting the guy. And I got to say, Mick Foley seems to have gotten skinnier over a week. The guy's looking really good. But Stephanie McMahon reminds Mick Foley that Triple H ended his career 17 years ago, pretty much to the day. States Triple H is getting stronger and stronger, whereas Mick is getting weaker and weaker and more pathetic by the day.
Yikes.
I don't understand. What is the point of all this? Putting him down and putting him down. Is he gonna? What is he gonna? What is it building up to a match between Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon? No, it's not gonna happen. So why?
I don't know.
Well, somebody's got to come out and be the savior to Mick Foley or something.
Well, I was hoping that at the end we'll talk about it, but when he was face to face with Strowman, you almost saw a Mankind or Cactus Jack starting to come out there, but nothing happened. But he was getting pretty mad.
It might have started.
Yeah, but you saw a little bit of a different.
It almost felt like they were hinting at.
I liked it.
I did too. I liked it a lot.
I was going back to Attitude Era mode for a second. But I will talk about it later. But he was screaming at him, "You're going to respect me as a legend if you're not going to respect me as a general manager." I was like, "Whoa, now we're talking."
Interesting.
Yeah, but anyways, and then Stephanie kept apologizing. She started off by apologizing, but she said, "I'm apologizing for putting you in this position from start." And I was like, "Oh God!" So it was pretty uncomfortable to listen to.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, your favorite.
Sorry, not sorry.
Next up, Kira Tozawa versus Noam Dar.
Love Noam Dar.
Love
Noam Dar.
Noam Dar.
Noam Dar. He's Scottish.
Yeah.
The Scottish
Are you sure? Or is he
supernova.
Irish?
Nice. Don't get me started.
James is Irish, everyone. So anyways, Tozawa was extra vocal this week with his ahs.
Lots of ads.
A lot of ahs this week. Did you watch this, Tyler?
No.
You didn't watch this match? The guys,
I
don't know.
like Tozawa and I like Noam
Yeah.
Dar, but I don't know. These cruiserweight matches just aren't
Most
of
fitting
them.
for me.
I don't watch a lot of 205, I gotta say.
We like Neville. James and I we're a Neville.
Yeah, I like
We're-
Neville.
Well,
Nev-
I like the characters. Just watching matches aren't like I like Rich Swann and I like that Cedric
Ooh.
Alexander guy and I like T.J. Perkins and I like Noam Dar. I like.
These are all terrible.
Yeah,
people.
honestly, half these guys just got nothing that I
The
grab
last
onto.
4 guys you have named, I'm just frowning on this. Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that. I also like Tony Nese.
he's got the look. I'll tell you that. He
Tony
didn't do very
Nese's
well.
abs.
He didn't do very well in Raw this week.
Well,
but
no, they don't. He's never won anything. Him and that Drew Gallagher always team together and they always lose.
Yeah, see, all those guys kind of blur together to me. Like, I'm not sure which one's which.
Neville stands out. Yeah, I don't know.
And
But-
Jack Gallagher definitely does. Mainly because he's about 5 shades lighter than the rest of them.
Yeah,
Well, he comes out and he glows, so
Yeah,
that,
he
that,
does,
that
yeah.
actually helps him.
They have a
That helps
black-
him find the way to the ring. in
Put
case
the
of
black light on there, the purple
Yeah.
light for the cruiserweights.
I don't know. So Tozawa, I think, does these ass sounds because there may be a language barrier issue. I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe he's
kinda-
trying to say I, and it comes out ah.
Aye.
It's grabbing onto the fans a little bit. They're chanting, so I guess that's
Sure.
what he's going to go with.
He's got that wicked snap suplex,
that.
and he
He's
won.
He's
with
good.
that
That
one.
He's
German
good.
suplex,
I
right?
do
like
like
him.
it.
Is
I
that
do
what
like
he did? Is that how he won the
He
German
finished it
suplex?
again,
Yeah.
Yeah, the snap German.
Yeah, they call it a snap German. And again, Brian Kendrick once again.
The
attacked
Brian
him.
Kendrick.
The Brian Kendrick. My apologies. Beat the tar out of him afterwards as one of his second or third lesson to him.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, he's trying to like mentor him.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then he wanted nothing
it
to do
ain't
with
happening.
him, and
Yeah.
so he's punishing him.
It's kind of funny. Behind the scenes, Brian Kendrick probably has mentored all these guys in 205.
Oh, yeah.
He's been around forever.
Well, he's
He
been
has
doing
been.
all the training behind
Yeah.
the scenes and
Yeah.
working with people.
Oh, to
he,
this day?
He actually did a lot of hands-on work with Eva Marie to
Yeah.
get her ring ready, although that
Ooh.
was kind of
that
wasted.
Don't put
Yeah.
that one. Don't put that one on your resume.
Because I don't know if she's any better,
No.
or is she?
Well,
And
maybe
that's
we
thanks
just
to him.
never seen.
Yeah.
But when she was supposed to debut, she popped for wellness, so that'll be about it for her, I think.
Yeah.
She'll be back.
Guess what we had after this match? Another segment. Mick Foley and Samoa Joe backstage. So
Poor Mick.
Foley admits that he has not been having a very good. For some reason, he wrote 7 years, 7 months as GM. He has not been having a good time. He called Samoa Joe Triple H's puppet, and he basically told Samoa Joe that he has a match tonight with Cesaro. Big surprise. Love these GM roles where they just tell you the obvious, right?
Well, it's weird that they have like they make some matches, but then other matches are just out there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, where was the GM making that match?
I don't like that part.
Yeah.
I hate when a wrestler comes out and tells what the match is going to be.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have the authority. What's the point of having a GM if a wrestler can just come in there and
But
say,
do you remember?
Yeah.
I'm wrestling this guy?
Remember with all the Teddy Long ones? Every time 2 guys were in an argument in the middle of the ring, Teddy Long's music hit
Yep.
comes out.
Holla, holla, player.
Well, guess what? You 2 are gonna have a match tonight. Oh, I didn't see that one.
It's
coming.
gonna be a tag team match.
So, anyways, that's my thought on the GM role.
No, it's played out.
It is. Yeah.
Or you have to make it serious, where these are the guys, the actual matchmakers, one or the other.
Make us believe that you're actually doing a job.
Yeah.
Because every GM, I think, to date, has always just been a middleman that's really never had the power to do it.
And then they always, whenever they kind of do feel like they have some power, the head guy in charge, like Vince McMahon, will come out, or
Right.
Stephanie McMahon will come out. Is like, I'm in charge. You're just a nothing. And then they kind of cower and
Yeah.
okay, that's the end of that power trip.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Like you have no real power.
I like it when Vince makes a match because you know no one can tell him what to do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, that match is happening. So,
Donald Trump will come out. I don't know, Vince.
oh God, have a shave my head match or something like that.
Vince blows both quads. He says, we're having that
As
match.
he's standing
Donald Trump versus both blown quads.
with
In a
Nash,
triple threat match.
with Nash as special guest referee.
It's gonna be huge.
And a lumberjack of America behind Donald Trump. Or
300 million lumberjacks.
19 people in attendance backing Trump.
These people voted for me.
There were millions of lumberjacks in that match. Millions.
It's fake news.
Tremendous.
There's alternative facts.
So, next up was an actual match. My opinion, I'm going to say it, this was probably the match of the night. So it was Charlotte and what was supposed to be Dana Brooke, but it was actually Nia Jax versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. So, anyways, Nia Jax destroyed in this match. I don't know. I see big things for her.
Yeah, I see big things for Nia Jax as well. I agree.
Oh, yeah. You could tell these guys are bros. It's going to be Nia Jax for this one.
I think Sasha Banks did well as well.
Yeah.
I think Bailey sucks.
I like that she wears the belt. That's basically my only
Bayley's terrible.
the only thing I like
And
about her.
Sasha's pretty terrible now, too. But anyways, Michael Cole noted that Charlotte is 16-0 in pay-per-views when it comes to the championship being involved.
16.
16
That's
and
a nice
0.
round number.
It is. Crowd was digging Charlotte. They were doing their woos. They seem to like her. I don't know. I'm a Charlotte fan.
I am
Charlotte.
too. And the fact that they're counting how many pay-per-view wins that she's had consecutively, the fact that they're calculating numbers tells me she's going to have a lot of title reigns in her time. She's going to probably have those 16 time. Woo! Champion.
Well, they're definitely making her a big deal.
Yeah.
Like by saying stuff like that. And that's what the announcers are there for too. Is they're there to build up the characters.
The one good thing about that, of them mentioning 16-0, is that when and if she loses at a pay-per-view for the title, it's going to be a big deal.
Right.
It's going to be even just that much bigger, and
Right.
that's how you build those kinds of momentum.
She
That's how you
loses
make
her
those-
belt on Raws. She doesn't lose.
Yeah,
them
she
on
loses the
pay-per-view.
belt on Raw and gains it back on the pay-per-views.
Exactly.
And I think they probably just, although I disagree about the fans being behind Charlotte, I think they kind of just do it because of the woos. They just woo back at her because she woos.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's a woo thing, I think.
No, she's got quite a bit of talent to her.
It could be.
I'm not disagreeing that she doesn't have talent, and I'm not disagreeing
Mike
that
and
they
in the
don't
ring.
see it. I don't think that they, like, she's kind of the heel, and they see her as a heel, but I don't think they're really cheering for her because I think they just cheer for the woos.
Yeah, I'm kind of different though. I cheer for the heels. I like heels generally. I don't know. I like the KOs and the Charlottes, and I'm tired with we call them bubble gum baby faces. I don't like Bayley. I know you like a lot of the faces, but that's cool too. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be cheered. I just have trouble cheering for all of the New Days and the Baileys and the John Cenas. I'm not Rick. Where are you at with that in regards to? I'm always been an anti-hero guy, hence the Stone Cold and Scott Hall stuff. But I don't know. I just have trouble with individuals that don't have any edge to them.
Well, I'll tell you one that you'd probably change your mind on, and that's got to be Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, he'll come out there and he'll be that cookie cutter guy. I mean, that was predominantly most of his career.
He was never really a cookie cutter guy, though. He was a bit of a sleazeball from day one, and I love Kurt Angle. That's what I loved about him. Alana, my wife and I, we were watching just recently, and they had a segment with Kurt Angle in the middle of the ring, and that was the one where Shane came in and got. Kurt was standing on top of the podium, and he was reliving his gold medal win. It was awesome. It was so good. I really enjoyed it because the crowd was booing, and he just stood there, all patriotic-like, with the music playing, listening to the anthem, and he almost had a tear in his eye, and I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was, he was just kind of a sleazeball bad guy, and I don't know. He just wasn't clean cut, in my opinion.
But when he first started, he was definitely cookie cutter.
He was clean cut.
He's that good,
But
all American.
But it was.
But there was a play on it. There was a funny play on it.
He was meant to be the heel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He comes down talking about the intensity,
Yeah.
the integrity,
Yeah.
and the intelligence.
So
The three eyes.
it was
right.
funny.
It was funny. Yeah. But he was definitely meant to be the heel right from the very beginning. So, but it was the kind of the cookie cutter, the goody two shoes, bubblegum.
But they use
heel.
it as a heel.
He was kind of hiding behind the bubble gum.
Yeah.
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 Sure.
And that's funny. That's good. I like that.
So Charlotte started off by stating that Bayley has been playing the crowd the whole time, that she's a fake, a cheater, a one-hit wonder, and that she should have won an Academy Award for her performance when it came to winning the belt. She even gave examples of one-hit wonders. She's like, Vanilla Ice, The Baha Men, The Cast from Twilight, Brett Favre. Favre.
Favre
Which one are we talking about?
in Green Bay.
And
Football player?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were talking about the director,
Oh,
Favreau.
John Favreau.
John
No, that's
Favreau?
Was
different.
was she having trouble with the name or purposely
Favre?
making fun of it?
No. She said Brett Favre.
You didn't watch it?
No.
Oh, who are you?
Skipping.
And it
Divas
said
segments
Buster
that
Douglas.
aren't very good.
So, anyways, it was pretty funny. She was kind of getting some heat from the crowd for it, and Bailey's music hit, of course. Crowd went quiet, in my opinion. I don't know.
I hit fast forward a few times on this
Fast
one.
forward.
Were the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men in there?
They certainly were.
They
She's a
were.
good role model for young ladies.
Sure.
That is all.
That is all. Her entrance was super awkward, and Charlotte starts off. It's like, there she is, the cheater herself. And Bailey awkwardly says, actually, the name you're looking for is Bailey, the champion. So
She knew what word she was looking for.
Barf.
yeah. So once again, Bailey's counting how many times she beat Charlotte. She reminded everyone that it's 3 times apparently. And Charlotte said, I'm going to buy your dad a ticket so he can witness you become a one-hit wonder. Once again, hitting up with the one-hit wonder. Sasha's annoying music hit, and she annoyingly
No bias.
defended Bailey. And Charlotte's like, oh, wow, Sasha, I'm so impressed because you're continuously taking Bailey's spotlight. You must be exhausted. And then this was probably the laugh my ass off moment of the night. Sasha goes, oh, me exhausted, huh? You know what I'm exhausted from? Looking at your stupid face.
She seriously said
She
stupid
said
things.
that. I had to write it. Yeah.
I missed that part.
Good one.
Too
Nice.
bad.
Good.
Yeah, it looked honestly like 2 girls in high school fighting. She even said it that way. Like the way she went, huh? I don't know. It's like she took it seriously for a moment. So crowd started a stupid face chant. I think they were kind of going for that originally. Didn't really go much from there, but Charlotte announced that it wasn't actually Dana Brooke that would be teaming up with her tonight, that it's Nia Jax. Nia started off by absolutely dominating Sasha and Bailey in the ring. I kind of compared Nia to a female Brock Lesnar, because if you would have watched that match, and I actually recommend you do, Nia absolutely dismantled the whole match. Like,
Pretty much just threw everyone around.
absolutely. Well, they're building her up quickly. So, I don't know. She's got a lot of power, the things she was doing in the match. So, as soon as Charlotte was tagged in, some of the crowd once again attempted to start the stupid face chant, I guess it was. And the match was pretty long. I did note that the women's division has come a long way once again from what it used to be. They're getting a lot of airtime on Raw compared to what the time they used to get, a couple minutes here and there. And I don't know. Jax had nothing but power, slamming Sasha onto Bailey like it was nothing, and Nia did I guess they called it a guillotine leg drop onto Bailey for the 3 count and the win. I just noted that Nia was extremely dominating, and I see big things for her to come. So I don't know. That was that.
Yeah.
I see big things
Is she
for
gonna
Nia.
fight Charlotte anytime soon? Or are they gonna is she gonna be
I
is
think
it gonna
she's
be a heel match? Like not
She's going
wearing
off-
heels. I mean,
it's gonna be
bad guy versus
Sasha.
bad guy.
Oh, Charlotte
Like-
versus
like-
Nia.
Yeah, like
I doubt it.
you would think that Nia's gonna
Eventually.
walk all over Sasha, right? And
So what's the Mania match then?
is Nia gonna fight Charlotte in a one-on-one, or are they
It's
gonna
got to be Charlotte
throw
versus
all 4
Bailey.
of them together? Or
Well, for
Charlotte and Bailey are fighting
Fastlane,
Bailey.
Fastlane,
They're
it's going to
fighting
be
Fastlane,
Nia versus Sasha
Yeah.
and Bailey versus Charlotte. I just can't see them putting Charlotte versus Nia heel and heel.
No, I think that they have to stay away from each other for a little while and establish some sort of. I think the Nia Jax thing with Sasha Banks is going to continue on for a little while, and the Bailey Charlotte thing is probably going to go on for a little while.
I'm not even sure who would become face first, Nia or Charlotte. I could see them both being heels for a long time.
Hmm.
I don't know. I have no idea. So, I guess after that, the next segment was Braun Strowman demanding Roman Reigns sign a contract for their match so that he wouldn't duck out. Didn't really get that one, but there wasn't really much to that.
One thing I will
Yeah.
point out, and I read this online before I actually saw the segment, but anyhow, Braun Strowman sounds a lot like Hulk Hogan.
yeah, he just sounds similar. He's got kind of a southern accent, but yeah,
Yeah,
similar.
He's kind
Yeah.
of has a southern Hulk Hogan. It's
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan with a bit of a drawl.
Yeah, yeah.
If he said brother, I was going to lose it. I'm going to make sure that Roman Reigns doesn't run out of here, brother. I'm going to fight him in Fastlane, dude. And you.
Yeah. Next match was pretty pretty lackluster. It was just Luke Gallows versus Big Cass. My notes stated that it was a standard big man match. Big Cass did a running big boot to Gallows and picked up the win. Not much to it.
So that almost leads me to think, I wonder if somehow the club will end up holding on to the belts because Cass got the win on Raw.
Yeah, usually they do that. Sometimes
Lots
if
of times.
somebody they win on TV, they lose at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, that may not be what happens.
Sometimes it's coincidental. Sometimes that feels like what happened.
I agree with you solely because of what they said backstage about we're nothing without the tag team championships.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I don't know.
They keep chasing them.
I think you guys all disagree with me. I see them breaking up quicker than most people think. I don't know why. I just have this weird feeling.
The seed's planted. I think you're right.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. But let's see what happens.
I think it'll be a while.
You think it'll be a while?
Yeah.
Might take a bit, but its seeds there.
Yeah. They're so different. But I know that's
That's kind of the
Yeah.
thing.
That was
That's
part
the
of the
thing.
appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
they're like the odd couple, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. After that, Titus O'Neil versus Sheamus.
They had another segment where they fought in catering, and they were kind
Yeah.
of like mentioning
You're right.
Titus, and it was like, "Hey, we're both Irish.
It was
'Cause I'm
weird.
O'Neil and
'Cause
you're
I'm-
Sheamus."
Yeah, it
It
was
was like-
strange.
Like, "Hey, answer me!" And then he kind of just punches him, and he falls in food. I think that's how it ended.
Yeah,
right?
that's all it was. So they had a match because of this. Titus basically went nuts on Sheamus from the start. That was cool, but Sheamus caught him with a brogue kick, and that was it.
And put him
Match
out.
is over.
1, 2, 3.
It was a 2-minute match.
Yeah.
It meant
There was
it just seems to mean nothing
there
at
was
all.
nothing. They used Facebook, as Tyler had said,
Yeah.
to make a mini storyline,
Yeah.
just to set the mood,
I
and that
guess,
was
yeah.
it.
They should have had Sheamus make a post and Titus do like the angry reaction. And then, hey, you, let's fight.
Like, talk about like different wrestlers. Like, what is wrong with Titus O'Neil that he can't do anything right?
It just
And
doesn't work,
he's constantly getting squashed. Like,
yeah, nothing works.
I think we're
for
gonna hear him on
he's-
Chael's podcast.
He
pretty
seems
soon.
like super. He seems like super likable backstage. Everybody likes him. And he's
Yeah.
maybe because he's like friends with like The Rock and
I'll t-
Batista. Like maybe people think that he's too big for it.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, Titus's biggest problem is he's going to fall into the Big Show category. He's a big guy that will do anything for the company. So when they need him to be face, he'll be face. When they need him to be a heel, he'll be a heel. And unfortunately, that tends to be a jobber and a squash match for the most part. So
He
I
definitely
mean,
has the look, though.
well,
all
that's
he's
the
got.
whole thing that makes him a good jobber is another big guy can come in there, squash him, and look like a champ, look like a legit champ by squashing Titus. So
The only problem with that is that Big Show, he was brought into the company as a big deal. He's kind of been like he's definitely been that upper middle card. He's had that status at one point. So for him, and then of course he flip flops, and then for someone to get a win on the Big Show, it's a big deal. Titus has never really been in that upper middle tier, so it's not really as big of a deal for someone to beat him.
Oh, no,
I
not at all.
definitely see what you're saying though, for sure.
I will say that maybe one of the reasons why Titus hasn't gotten farther than he has is because his wrestling skills he hasn't really gotten better in the ring. Like, he's been around since NXT season 2, and he's basically wrestling the same way he always does, which is not very good.
Yeah.
And he keeps doing that dog thing that nobody really understands.
Is that a Florida Gators thing?
you might be right on that. Something like that.
Yeah.
College football, bark.
The bark or whatever, yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right. He hasn't really evolved much, eh? Like, he's been the heel, he's been the face, but in regards to his style, his moveset hasn't really changed much.
No, and he hasn't gotten
years,
better, and
7
he
years,
doesn't even like he still kind of looks awkward in the ring.
Mhm.
He doesn't really look like he's really comfortable in there.
Yeah,
So that could be one of the reasons why.
could be.
So did anyone see the Seth Rollins and Corey Graves interview afterwards in the middle of the ring?
I loved it. I thought that was an amazing segment. That
Yeah.
was really good.
No, talk about it.
Yeah, Corey Graves just kind of kind of goes straight up with it. It's like, hey, what's your status, bro? And Seth is kind of down. Like I kind of thought he came out in a crutch and he's got a big leg brace on. I thought he was kind of faking it. I thought he was gonna toss the crutch and I'm fine.
Yeah,
we're gonna fight. And because he's kind of down, he's like, yeah, it's not looking good. The training's really intense, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it to Mania.
He looked depressed.
He was really good at it.
So he's full on face, hey now.
Oh yeah,
he's full on
definitely.
face.
Definitely.
He's kind of getting the sympathy there.
Yeah.
But he did say he will be at Mania.
He said he'll be at Mania.
So
like he was at Mania 32, and they like during that WWE 24 special of WrestleMania 32, he was in the box office watching it from afar, and he was down. So he might be at Mania, whether he was going to wrestle or not.
But he did say, though, in that segment that he can't see himself making WrestleMania for the second year in a row. But who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then Triple H came out and...
Yeah. I guess not everyone was digging the segment, though. I did hear boring chants from the crowd. It was quiet, though. I agree with Tyler. It was a good segment. They were just setting the mood.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins wasn't happy. He was depressed. So it's going to be a gloomier... Actually, I thought Corey Graves did a really good job. I guess those two must be fairly good friends because they were, like, talking to each other, you know.
Well, they were both in NXT together.
Yeah, they probably
at the
came up
same
together.
time
Yeah,
and stuff.
so they seemed good, and he was, they were kind of he was consoling and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was done very well. And like you said, Triple H came out.
and just kind of like ragged on Seth Rollins again and called him the baby, calling like a sore loser and kind of like a baby's gonna cry or kind of like that, and just kind of like reminiscing, rehashing the fact that he gave him everything, and Seth Rollins kind of spit in his face, or he couldn't carry the ball, or he dropped the ball or whatever, and then Seth Rollins got like crazy furious.
Samoa Joe was surrounding the ring.
Yeah, Samoa Joe. Oh, that
Joe was
part
there.
freaked me out. He kind of just goes, "Oh, hi, Joe." It's like, "Oh, Joe's in the back. He's gonna get him."
Just stood there.
Yeah.
And he had some cool quotes to Triple H. He's like, "I used you up and I spit you out." And he also stated, "I used to tell everyone that you were the future. Now you're the past."
Yeah, that was a good line for sure. Yeah.
He told Seth that if he calls Triple H out at WrestleMania, it will be the last thing he ever does in a WWE ring. And Seth told Triple H that he's going to be at WrestleMania.
So that means they're going to set up for something after Mania?
I don't know.
Missed opportunity on this, and they're just going to push it forward?
I think it's one of those things where he might be already be back, and this might be just kind of like a ploy that the WWE is saying that he's not going to be ready, but they're going to use, like Seth Rollins going to use everything as fuel for his recovery, so he can be back for Mania to fight Triple H.
Yeah, and then, like basically at the end of the segment too, he basically said that he's going to destroy Triple H because he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next segment was the Shining Stars versus the Big Show. Poor Big Show. Poor Big Show. In fact, Rick has decided that he's got to take off for the evening. So, Rick, we just really want to thank you for being on the podcast and joining us this week. It was a good time, good conversation, man.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm grossed out by the Big Show, but we'll have another conversation, and we'll get deeper. We'll get deeper, boys.
Don't worry. Since this discussion, Big Show has turned heel and face 4 times.
Fantastic. I'm out, boys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming over.
Cheers.
It was great. All right, guys. So on to the next match of the night. So it was another 205 Live match, I guess you could call it. It was Jack Gallagher and T.J. Perkins teaming up against Neville and Tony Nese, or as I'd like to call him, Team Ripped.
Ever since I heard Corey Graves a couple weeks ago refer to him as Tony Nese's abs.
Those two guys, they're in shape.
They're jacked, man.
They're jacked.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I like about T.J. Perkins and Jack Haller kind of have a cool relationship going. They kind of do like T.J. Perkins will go do the fist bump, and Jack Haller will shake that bump.
Oh,
like
the awkward they call that the awkward fist bump.
Oh yeah, okay,
when somebody goes to
do.
fist bump someone and you grab the fist and you kind of rotate the fist around.
He kind of did it like a handshake, kind of up and down.
Rick has done that to me, guys. So yeah, no, that's pretty funny. First note I had was me questioning what was up with the miscommunication right at the start of the match, where Perkins bumped against the ropes, causing Gallagher to fall off the ring.
Oh, I didn't really catch
I don't
that.
even know if that was planned. I think it may have been an accident.
Probably an accident.
His back was to the ring, and he was kind of acknowledging the fans, and he kind of just he kind of just bounced against the ropes and he fell down. It was pretty awkward.
Yeah,
but
maybe they botched.
I think it was a bit of a botch.
Yeah.
Botchmania coming up.
Botch mania.
We'll have to keep an eye on that.
You liking Gallagher's headbutts? I'm just kind of scared he's gonna hurt
The
himself.
thing is, yeah, like a little off mic, we talked about botched banned moves. I'm kind of surprised the headbutt isn't a banned move yet.
No kidding.
Yeah.
After some things happened with people doing headbutts.
Right.
No kidding. There's been a lot of concussions in the WWE.
Yeah, and knowing what we now know about like head trauma and head injuries and stuff, like
point.
you'd almost think that anything involving the head would pretty much be off limits.
Yeah, not only does he do it, they like really like emphasize the headbutt.
That's a good point.
Kind of surprised about that.
So am I. This match was not long. I don't even think it hit 2 minutes. Essentially, Gallagher got Tony Nese in a submission and finished the match off. Kind of made Tony Nese actually look pretty weak because that was a quick one.
Well, I think the thing was that like like Neville kind of approached Nese and kind of putting him down and stuff, and then Neville had an opportunity to break up that hold, and he kind of decided not to.
Okay.
Like, save my breath for the pay-per-view when I'm fighting Gallagher. Like, don't bother with this now. I don't really care about Nese because I'm the king.
Agreed. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Cool.
Was a cool submission. He kind of did he did that running drop kick, which I just thought was his finisher, and then he kind of either picked him up or just he was kind of laying there, and he kind of did this Russian leg sweep, and then he lifted his leg over his head and just kind of like had this weird submission. I've never seen it before, but it was pretty cool.
After this match was the announcement of the next Hall of Fame inductee, and that is the Glamazon Beth Phoenix. How do we feel about this?
How do we feel about Mrs. Edge being in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I like her. I've liked her since the start. She kind of started as like an obsessed fan of, I think, Trish Stratus maybe, and then she got hurt and they kind of bumped her for another year or so, and then she was just the Glamazon. I like the Glamazon. She had kind of like her theme song is kind of like an 80s theme song, and she kind of did this cool. She'd go to the top rope and like sit on it, and then she'd flip over it. I thought that was really cool, and she had some really great moves. I just think it's a little too early for her. That's my only problem with it.
It does feel too soon, doesn't it?
Agreed. Too soon. I found that the moments they were showing in the past of her wrestling in her in the promos there, it felt like it could have easily have been a week ago. Like
Totally.
the ring,
exactly.
You noticed that?
Yeah.
It was like the ring looked the same, the apron, everything was the same, and it's like it doesn't even feel like it was that long ago. You know, generally when somebody's being inducted, let's even go as soon as the Attitude Era. That ring looked different back then, but. when Beth Phoenix was wrestling, the turnbuckles were the same color. I don't know. It was. I think it was SmackDown's colors. I'm not sure. But
Well, I think she retired in 2012 or 2013.
that's so recent.
So that's not that long ago at all.
Oh my God.
Really?
Under
5 years ago?
This will sound bad, but generally when somebody gets inducted this soon, it's usually because they passed away.
They passed away or they've retired early. Like
Edge had to.
Edge retired early, and then he was inducted that year.
Sure. There's
But then
some exceptions, like Booker. Booker was inducted, and he was wrestling not that long ago. But Booker T has been around forever. He has so much to him.
Like he has a long storied career of lots of
Huge.
things.
So that one I'd say is a good exception.
Yeah.
But generally, either they passed away or the other
Early retirement kind of thing.
retirement
Yeah.
due to injury.
Like everyone's kind of expecting a Daniel Bryan Hall of Fame, and that like everyone was kind of expecting that last year, a Daniel Bryan Hall of Fame.
But is he
announcement.
done, right?
But
is
he done? Yeah,
really
we're not
done?
really sure, but
That's the problem with that. Edge, you knew he's done, right? So that was kind of the difference there. He cannot wrestle. In fact, Edge, I think, said, if I take one bad bump, I could die. So that's pretty serious stuff.
I think he may have said that on one of the podcasts.
Yeah.
That he had an interview on.
Was it? Sorry, my apologies. It's either I could die or I could become completely paralyzed. 'cause it's
Probably
his spine.
paralyzed.
It's his spinal cord.
Yeah, it's probably not dying.
You
but
could die if you injure your spinal cord a certain way, though. Your spinal cord, there's a lot of fluid that runs through that thing. So
I guess it depends on where the injury on the spinal cord is.
either way, I respect what his choice was, and I actually hope Daniel Bryan doesn't wrestle again, because if was it concussions that Daniel was having? I do believe it was.
Yeah, concussions. Yeah.
And he was having seizures, he said.
It doesn't exactly look good if he comes back for a younger audience, saying stuff about concussions.
Or just even how serious is the WB on concussions when we're having this guy who had to retire and then he's coming back. Oh well, how serious are you on your stance on concussions?
Right.
Sure.
So,
But back to Bex Phoenix, I think she's maybe next year or the year after. I think there might be some women that were a little, I don't know, due before her. They got Jackie last year. Maybe
How about Victoria?
A Victoria,
That
yeah.
would've
A
been-
Victoria, a Molly Holly.
agreed.
Molly
yeah.
Holly would have been fine.
Yeah, because Molly Holly's got a pretty storied career there too.
Yeah, lots of different characters.
Lots of different characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. So we had another segment after this Hall of Fame announcement.
Segment, you say?
So another segment.
Another segment.
This was a
No.
segment filled raw, Tyler. So this one was once again James's favorite, Stephanie McMahon, along with Sasha Banks and Bayley. Steph accused Sasha of wanting Bayley's spotlight. Said that Sasha still thinks Bayley can't do it on her own. Steph broke it to Sasha that she'd be facing Nia Jax at Fastlane, and told her to stop worrying about Bayley's back and to start worrying about her own.
Yeah, that was kind of it was kind of a weird segment. They kind of oh, my back, oh, my arm.
that was horrible.
My ice is really
You,
how's
you
your
noticed
back?
that? I didn't want to
It's
say
pretty
anything,
bad.
but
Yeah,
the
it was-
holding of the ice pack against Bayley's neck and kind of Sasha, just the overacting is hard to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I kind of skimmed through this one too, but
That was it. That was just another quick segment.
basically just to set up Nia versus Sasha, really, basically, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It wasn't confirmed that they just confirmed it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The matchup.
Right. Okay. Next was an actual match. Actually, the last match of the night. It was Samoa Joe versus Cesaro. One thing I did like about this, and they kind of obviously alluded to it in their backstage segment, but they indicated, and acknowledged that they had a ton of history, wrestle each other around the world in different companies. So that's a nice touch. It kind of brings a legitimacy or a bit of added story to the match, right?
Yeah, just in case you only watch WWE and
Sure.
NXT, these guys fought before
Right.
NXT and WWE. There's something else besides them,
Right.
and they just they acknowledge it. If you're kind of well, Samoa Joe's only in WWE for NXT for a year, and now all of a sudden he's fighting. All of a sudden he's Triple H's boy. Well,
Right.
no, he's been around the block.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'd be a good example. I didn't know these two had any history, so it kind of helped me, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't I don't watch Ring of Honor or know too much about it, so I wasn't aware these two had wrestled in the past.
Yeah, I've seen some of their matches online. We would never have gotten, the only time we could watch Ring of Honor is, watching some matches here and there on YouTube or stuff, because, it was never broadcast in our area anyways. Tyler?
No.
I don't think so.
No. It's currently they're showing Ring of Honor on the Fight Network.
Yeah, actually Fox has it too. One of the Fox networks that I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it shows it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, not any Canadian feeds
No.
or anything in the past.
Right.
When the stars were there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's basically right off the hop. It looked like Cesaro was going to try something off the top rope, and he kind of fell to the outside. He bounced off the top rope there and landed on his legs. And I'm not 100% certain, but it seemed like he legit tweaked his knee.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes
Yeah.
with these guys. Hey, it looks like it could have been just one of those things, because sometimes you're not really sure when you see. It seems like they botch it, but then the guy works on the leg, so it's hard to tell.
I think when they work on the damaged body part, it's
A work.
it's a work.
Yeah.
But I think if they avoid it and they're kind of limping around, could be a shoot. It's hard
Yeah,
to
it's
tell.
true, because he was kind of like every time he was selling it, he was trying to fight it off. He's stomping on it and he's grimacing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that knee bar that was reversed into an attempted sharpshooter. I got to say that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It It was a pretty straightforward match.
Yeah. Thinking I like his Joe's finisher. I guess he's not doing the muscle buster anymore.
No, it's called. I think they called it.
The Uranagi suplex, right?
Oh, is that Uranagi?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's essentially a spinning rock bottom.
It's basically a spinning rock bottom. That's what it was back in. It's always been a Uranagi suplex. It's a little different than a rock bottom. It kind of does a little spin to it.
It reminds me
The bookend.
It reminds me of the rock bottom and the boss man slam.
Oh yeah.
Or I wonder more like Abyss's move, hey, in TNA?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a
Wait.
little bit. I was kind of thinking like
Black hole slam, is that what he called it?
Yeah, it calls it black hole slam. I think it's Sambo suplex. They sometimes call it.
Okay, yeah.
If you've ever heard of that, they
Yeah.
sometimes called it like in the video games. The
Yeah.
create a move with a Sambo suplex.
Right,
and that's
right,
what it
yeah.
was. But
Kinda-
that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly, cool. But no, it's a cool move. I like it.
And I think maybe he's kind of saving the coquina clutch
Yeah.
for just when he's like beating down guys.
The
Like he used
submission,
it
yeah.
against Seth Rollins, and I think he even used it against Sami Zayn when he attacked him.
Right.
No, it's good not to
Earlier on a few
overuse a
months
move.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have
exactly.
have lots in your arsenal.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and this is just me, the more things you have, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Don't use the same thing over and over.
No, leave the opponent guessing.
Sure.
Let the crowds guess. You don't want it necessarily to become
I wish,
academic.
I wish wrestlers would do that more. You know, wouldn't that be cool? James, you and I have talked about this. How we're often torn on Sheamus. You know, oh, he's boring. He's kind of right now. Actually, we're kind of redigging Sheamus again. He's kind of got the cool heel vibe going again. The less he says, the better he gets. It seems. Like when he was saying, "Oh, I want to kick the head off that Samoa Joe," it was like, he's kind of cool right now. But what I was trying to get at is with Sheamus, he's had quite a few moves in the past, and the Celtic Cross was that was a pretty cool one. That was at that was the Razor's Edge.
That
I
was
believe?
basically Razor's Edge.
Yeah. Well, he stopped using it, but wouldn't it be kind of cool if he just used it once in a while?
Yeah, just out of the arsenal. He's had like 4 or 5 finishing moves. Like he has the brogue kick.
Yep.
He has the Irish Cursed Backbreaker.
Oh,
He has
yeah.
white
Right.
noise.
Oh yeah.
He does the
How does
clover
the-
leaf sometimes.
How does the white noise
The
go
white
again?
noise is like he kind of puts him on his shoulder and then he kind of sticks the guy's head under his
That's right.
armpit and then he kind of drops.
Yeah,
Right.
almost like a Samoan drop, but he's got the kind of got his head under his armpit.
That's
hey?
right, yeah.
that's right. I remember that one.
And then he kind of drops. He did it to Big Show when they were
Yeah.
feuding a few years ago.
Oh yeah, that's
pretty
right.
cool
I do
move. And then
remember
he's like the 10 beats of the Bowery.
that.
Yeah.
He's got lots of moves. This
Yeah.
guy.
So what I'm trying to get at is just mix them up, and it keeps the matches
Yeah,
interesting.
it doesn't always have to be a brogue kick. Do the
Exactly.
Celtic Cross
Sure.
sometimes. Do the
Sweet. Yeah.
And then then the announcers can basically just kind of put over the fact that, hey, you know what? He could win in 100 different ways.
exactly. That just like makes that character just that much better and
Right.
makes the match that much better.
Yeah.
Well, even imagine in the past if The Rock had once in a while won with just the people's elbow and didn't
Right.
touch the rock bottom. How much better would the rock bottom have been when he used it?
Mhm.
You know, it just kind of keeps you wanting it if you don't get it. So.
But kind of like the Undertaker. I mean, Tombstone's always been his move. He's done the choke slam, won that one here and there.
It's power bomb.
But then
Last Ride.
the last ride power bomb. He did that, of
One
course,
that-
when he was the biker taker.
That could be one of the best power bombs in WWE.
But then he brought that out, and it was special. Like when
Oh,
he
yeah.
came back as the Phenom again, he didn't do the last ride all the time.
No.
So when he brought out the last ride, it was like, oh, that's cool.
And then Undertaker has another couple moves. He does like Hell's Gate sometimes.
Yeah.
Similar to a triangle choke. Well,
Yeah.
it's more of
It has a name. I can't think of what the name is.
if Rick were here, he could tell us. The difference is
I did know it, but
Yeah, he pushes his leg, I believe, against the throat, which is different.
And then even earlier, before the Hell's Gate, he was doing a Dragon Sleeper type move that he did sometimes.
Yeah.
So just moves that you pull out of their hat. You don't see him coming. They're like, the crowd could be amazed. We'd be amazed. The announcers would be amazed.
Yeah. No, agreed.
the Go-Go Plata
Yeah, that's right.
is what it's called.
Thank you, James. So yeah, it wasn't much that match. You know, Samoa Joe finished it. As Samoa Joe was being interviewed on the top of the ramp, Sami Zayn's music hit, and he attacked Joe from the side. You know, there was actually a podcast with Austin. I think it was at least 2 years ago, and they discussed this. I think it was a fan that wrote in. What's your thoughts on having to have a wrestler's music hit before he comes out as opposed to having it as a surprise? Austin liked the music because it's pro wrestling, let's face it. But I don't think Sami Zayn's music should have hit for that one.
Well, the thing about that was it hit, and Samoa Joe turns around because he's expecting him to
Yes.
at the entrance. So,
Yes.
But then he tricks him and comes out the side.
Okay.
That's smart.
Okay.
Yeah,
he
it
did come from the
worked.
side.
It did
Yeah.
work because it surprised him, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I just hate it when the music hits unnecessarily and they run out because you want it. I guess it alerts the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
The
what
cr-
it's used for, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the pop, yeah.
Yeah, it's the pop. That's correct. And that's what I think that Austin had said on that one podcast I was referencing. But anyways, he came out and I guess they brawled on the side of the ramp,
Yeah.
going kind of back and forth. They're split up by security and
At
the
one
referees.
point during the security part, I was thinking like they're kind of not really holding Joe back, but they're holding Sami Zayn back. So I was thinking like maybe these are Triple H's guys, and they're like,
They tend to do that a lot, I find, when the security's involved. They'll hold back the face and the heel is kind of left to drift.
Yeah.
So then you can get in a cheap shot.
yeah, that's true too.
That's
But, yeah,
happened several times.
It's just
I've
that
seen.
I kind of in the back of my mind is like, are these Triple H's guys?
Right.
Because like he's kind of like at this point, Smojo's kind of protected almost,
Right.
like right.
Right. Yeah. One thing I noticed that I've written down here is that Zayn flew off the ramp there onto Joe. We kind of did that swanton bomb that he kind of does.
yes, that was pretty cool.
He almost died.
Yeah, did he almost overshoot it or something?
I don't know
like
what
that?
happened, but he fell pretty hard. I mean, he definitely hit Joe.
Like he hits Joe with his legs,
Yeah.
and then he kind of just falls
forward.
falls backwards
On the concrete.
on the back of his
on
head.
the cold concrete.
I don't know. If I was a wrestler, I don't think I'd be a high flyer like that. I'd be, I don't know,
A brawler. You'd be a brawler.
more of an Austin kind of guy.
Yeah. You know what? I always like the submission guys, the shoot
Yeah.
guys. I have always really enjoyed that.
See, I could do something like, like the Michaels where he does the flying elbow or Macho Man. That's okay because you're just using your whole body to land. But as soon as you're doing flips in the air and whatnot, we've seen what Brock Lesnar did, where he almost broke. Did he break his neck?
No, he didn't
But
actually.
that's terrifying.
It was
Any-
really close.
Oh
if it
my.
was anybody else that didn't have like 100 pounds of muscle around his
Yes,
neck,
his muscle
he
saved
would
it.
have died.
Probably died. And, Brock was interviewed by Austin on that podcast there, and he said, I was young, I was stupid, I'm not going to say who told me to. Someone told me to do that, and I would never do it again.
Right.
I wonder who told him. I don't know. For some reason, I want to say Michael Hayes told him to do it.
Michael P.S. Hayes.
I don't know why. I know Michael Hayes has always had this background thing going for years and years, and he often talks to the wrestlers. I just have this weird feeling it was Hayes that told him, yeah, do it. It'll be huge. It'll be a huge pop,
Well, if he would have nailed it, it would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing.
Like it would have been that thing that they show like throughout the years. It would have been
Don't
like
try it.
a Macho Man. No,
Well,
no,
it would have been try this at home.
no, it would have been like one of those things they show like for WrestleMania moments. They
Right.
show Macho Man the big elbow, Hogan the big body slamming Andre the Giant, Brock Lesnar doing the shooting star
Yeah.
press.
He wasn't even close, to Angle. Like
Well, Angle
if
was
you
way
would have
too
made
far.
if he would have made it and not hit his head, he would have. I don't think he would have touched Angle.
No, I think he had too much air.
Well, he's done the move before, but he under rotated, right? Like he did the back flip, but then he landed on his head.
Yeah.
Like
It was horrible. Angle should have been closer to it if you want to.
Like Styles does the move these days, right? Like he'll do it off the just kind of like as the springboard off the top rope. He does the
The shooting star.
No, that's the 450.
No, he
My
doesn't. He
my
doesn't do the
apologies,
shooting
yeah.
star.
But
Yeah.
Evan
Kidman
Evan
did
Bourne,
the shooting star.
Evan Bourne did the shooting star press.
Kidman
What's that?
Evan Bourne
Evan
did shooting
Bourne,
star
yeah,
press,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
And he always nailed it.
and Kidman's partner. What was it? Yeah,
Sick boy.
Sick Boy.
He was in the.
No, he
Flock
did
in
it when
WCW.
Oh,
back in WWE when Kidman was teaming with I think
Paul London did
Paul
it.
London.
yeah, and he-
yes, he's the
Paul
one.
London.
Yeah, he nailed
I
Kidman.
was
or
like,
Kidman
Paul
nailed him.
London is Sick Boy. Who's Sick Boy?
He was a member of the Flock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
He was the
Flock,
Wyatt
yeah.
family before Wyatt family was.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Cool. All right.
Anyways, yeah.
So after the commercial break, the commentators announced that according to Mick Foley, Samoa Joe would be facing Sami Zayn at Fastlane. So the GM role was used through the commentators. Yeah.
He still has some pull. It was just kind of like, yes, officials.
He still does.
Yes,
He wasn't. It just goes through the commentators. We don't even need to display Mick Foley at the stage.
He sent a telegram to Michael Cole. Singing telegram.
Singing telegram. Singing telegram with Michael Cole.
Sami Zayn versus Samoa.
Wow. All right. So, James, Tyler, that leaves us off with the last segment of the night. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns contract signing.
All right. So Foley comes out with the contract. The monster among men comes out, but Foley's kind of like, I don't really think we need to do this.
It was awesome. Why are we doing this? It was already made official, but according to Braun Strowman, we have to do this.
It's kind of those things like when kind of like Family Guy, in episodes of Family Guy, they kind of point out illogical things and things.
And that's
like,
what happened.
Why are we doing this? This is not, we don't need to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like Mick Foley was calling out like the writers or McMahon or someone for doing this.
Yeah, I wonder, yeah. So they one thing I noticed actually is that they called him the monster among men, but then when he was Cole was coming out, or when he came out rather, Cole referred to him as the mountain among men.
What?
So I started thinking, which one is it?
It's the monster, and
It
there
is
was
the
another
monster,
nickname
yeah.
you and I discussed last week.
I don't remember.
He's got at least 2 nicknames already. So
Yeah,
but yeah, monster.
just to kind of show how much of a beast he is. Yeah, but yeah, it is the monster among
It's
men.
going
for
on the
sure.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
So Reigns came out after that.
That was actually awesome. He came out running, and I think Strowman caught him, and he threw him like over the steps. It's like everyone was amazed, but I guess Roman Reigns kind of showed off his athletic ability and kind of did a somersault and stood right up and ran and jumped on the top of the stairs and did a Superman punch. One of many that he would do throughout the.
Yeah, there was Superman punches galore. He did one off the steps and whatnot, and he did a spear through what we discussed earlier could be Danny Duggan, locally from Winnipeg. We're not sure if that is Danny Duggan. But
Danny Duggan, if you are by chance listening, you can perhaps confirm.
Let us know, because that is a local Winnipeg rumor that security guard that got speared or was behind Braun was Danny Duggan from Winnipeg. So I don't know. We'll have to look into that a little bit further.
Right.
And the one thing we actually missed when we were talking about Braun and Roman was we discussed this earlier, but again, back to Mick Foley, stating that he was tired of being disrespected. And he was pretty heated when he was looking at Braun. I'm really not sure if they're going to go anywhere with that. I'm going to lean on no. But he said, he had said, I'm tired of being disrespected. If you're not going to respect me as a GM, you're going to respect me as a legend or else.
Well, it seems like it kind of does seem like they're hinting at some things. Like you mentioned earlier how you kind of think Big Cass and Enzo are kind of hinting at splitting up. I think this could be a thing where maybe Mick Foley picks someone to fight for him, or
like would Foley ever fight again?
I can't see them having a match because
Cactus Jack or
like Braun Strowman would rip him apart. Like
he would.
And I can't see Mick Foley taking any kind of real big bumps.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
this point in the game.
He has trouble getting out of
that's
bed.
That's what would happen if he fought Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Just that running power slam would destroy him.
Oh yeah.
That reverse choke slam would.
I'm sure his pain threshold isn't what it used to be.
No.
Like the longer you go without taking bumps, I'm sure your body starts to change.
Exactly, but maybe that's. It might be one of the reasons why he's getting in such better shape. Maybe he wants one more match at Mania. Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible.
And I guess if you're gonna do it, I mean, he's not getting any younger either.
No.
Yeah, maybe he would do it for his daughter. I don't know.
It's hard to say. I don't know.
Who knows for Noelle?
Yeah, we don't necessarily know, but if he's doing a little bit of training or whatever, that could become like a part of the Holy Foley show or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows? Hard to say.
Season 2, Foley's training to be a wrestler again.
Yeah.
So I guess where did we leave off here? Reigns went back into the ring, and
Well, he thought he had finally taken down the monster by spearing him through the barricade.
Yeah.
And he gets in the ring. He gets his withers together, and he looks, and Strowman's back up.
Mhm.
He's not unfazed.
Yeah.
So Strowman enters the ring. So Reigns tries to spear him. He catches him, It throws him into the turnbuckle, which just explodes.
Was it? Did they put like a? What did they put in that turnbuckle?
I think they just got some guys out there while they were having yet another segment to loosen it, like super loosen it. That's.
It looked like they had an airbag mechanism in there. The way he hit
because it kind of would. Yeah, because it didn't just it didn't just fall.
It shot
at him.
The middle of the ring, as if he hit an airbag mechanism and it blew forward.
Yeah,
it was weird, or like he hit a spring in a cartoon.
It had a cool effect.
Where was the fortification from the previous week?
Well, that I don't know. They didn't tighten that mat enough this week.
Oh they had extra. I see what you mean.
We're talking about the fortification.
Yeah,
last week.
the extra guys.
Yeah.
All those guys that were doing the fake fortification.
Did they show clips of guys putting things? I think they did.
Like last week? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I'd mentioned in our last podcast that one of the main things I'd seen was one of the guys was tightening the was it elastics or the ropes that holds the apron down on the ring. You know, you gotta hold the guy.
Make sure that apron stays put.
Slide around.
Oh, and I had made a good point, Tyler, on the last podcast regarding the fortification. I was like, so when there's a battle royal or a Royal Rumble, why is there no mention of ring fortification then?
Yeah, because there's more guys into it. And, I mean, as big as Big Show and Braun Strowman are, they're not bigger than 12 to 15 other guys.
No, right? But the thing about it is you've got 12 to 15 other guys. They're all spread out. It's the weight distribution.
Yes, that's very true.
So they don't need to fortify the ring in the same way.
That's very true.
That's exactly right. One thing I loved about this, and when I say loved, I didn't love, is they always got to show the WrestleMania sign as much as possible. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the way the camera angles are, it's like you've got your Roman Reigns and you got your Braun Strowman or, either one of them outside the ring. But the camera is like kind of pointing upwards and you get that WrestleMania sign in there. It's more WrestleMania sign than even the wrestler themselves.
Well, that sign is freaking huge.
I
remember
know,
the WrestleMania 10.
Yeah.
It was like a little tarp that looked like they just kind of balled it, rolled it up into a ball, and threw it in the back of the truck, and then brought it back out. I mean, this thing is gigantic.
It was like that at WrestleMania.
It's going to fall on a fan now, on a group of fans.
A group of fans. It'll take out a whole section. That thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. But one thing just getting back to before the turnbuckle exploded, and Roman Reigns, of course, had been beaten down on Braun. He, threw him outside the ring and then kind of knocked him down and hitting him with, multiple Superman punches, what have you. Roman gets back in the ring and Braun, he gets back up and yells, "Is that all you got?"
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I noticed, Roman Reigns, does the spear have no power if he doesn't? That's right. If he doesn't, he has to do that.
That's right. He doesn't. He has to open up his ribs. He has to open up those airways.
Well, that chest protector is blocking that power from coming to him.
That's it.
He has to open it up.
You're probably right.
Also, let's not forget him having to cock his wrist every time he does the Superman punch.
Yeah.
That's even worse, actually. I don't know.
Well, it's like a shotgun. You have to reload every time.
Yeah. If you don't load it, it's not going to shoot, right?
You should look up a meme, audience, about Roman Reigns doing that, followed by Vince McMahon. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it's not. It's not.
All right, do not look up that meme,
know.
everyone.
Yes, exactly. Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Not safe for work.
Yeah.
So all in all, the show ended. Roman Reigns still managed to sign that contract, showing that he was not afraid of Braun Strowman.
Yep. And Michael Cole at the very end.
Oh, I wasn't gonna mention it, but go ahead.
No, it's got to be said. Michael Cole says at the very end to end off Raw.
Geez.
Could Roman Reigns be on the fast lane towards destruction?
Ooh, he had to.
Man.
He had no choice. It was right there waiting for him. All he had to do was say it.
I love a good pun as much as the next person, but
I never knew.
Was bad.
What's that? I said I never knew.
But no, it was just. Anyways,
Classic Cole.
But overall, Raw was decent this week.
Yeah, it was decent, I guess. But I don't know what your thoughts are, especially since I classified the Nia Jax match as the match of the night. Well, what's your thoughts on what was the match of the night for you?
Well, it definitely wasn't the Nia Jax Charlotte Bayley Sasha.
I just like that
quote-unquote
Nia
match.
Jax was destroying everyone.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of. I guess I just kind of like that, but
I don't really like how they have big girls in spacesuits all the time. Like you mentioned, like, oh, she's kind of like Brock Lesnar. Well, Brock Lesnar doesn't wear a spacesuit. He's not wearing a future suit from the year 2255. Throwing guys around.
Brock Lesnar's not wearing pleather.
I mean,
I never thought of it that way.
like
I certainly hope I never see Brock Lesnar in what Nia Jax wears.
it's so weird. But the show wasn't bad.
All right, so your
Yeah, I
favorite
give it a-
match was Big Show and Shining
Oh,
Stars.
definitely not. It made our guest leave at the very thought of speaking about it.
Thank you
I
again,
think-
Rick.
You know what we should do going forward? We should actually have a match of the night and the worst match of the night, James. we should end our podcasts with that.
Okay,
All right,
I'm good with that.
you heard it, guys.
so-
Episode 5, it was announced. That's what we're gonna add that.
All right, so yeah, my match of the night. I mean, it would have to be Samoa Joe and Cesaro.
Okay.
I like them both. I thought they put on a good show. Wasn't that long, but I mean, it's a Raw match. I think they gave way more time to the women's tag team match.
They did.
But it was for, there's the champion was involved there as well. So I guess there's something to be said there.
It was a very segmenty night.
Lots of backstage stuff.
When you look at everything that we just discussed, there
Lots
wasn't
of
a lot of
yakking.
matches.
Lots of yakking.
Yeah,
For
lots of yakking,
sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I would probably, I'd probably agree that the Samoa Joe Cesaro match is probably the match of the night. If we're going with segments of the night, which we probably might, or if you want to do that in the future, that's totally up to you, because I don't know if they're going to do more matches and segments. But I think that Triple H Seth Rollins segment was very good. I
Sure.
like that part.
Yeah, that was a
lot.
good one.
It was good. I agreed.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Well, is there anything else you guys wanted to cover?
No, I think we're good for this week.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me. It was a great time. Had lots of fun talking about wrestling with you guys, rumors and Raw.
Yeah, it was awesome. We loved having you on the show. We will have you again.
Yeah, it was good to hear the mind, what the
thank you
mind
very
has
much.
to
The
say.
mind of wrestling.
Yes. All right. So yeah, thanks again, Tyler. Thanks again for Rick for stopping by and chatting with us as well. But Eric, I think we're good for this week, eh?
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will catch you next time.
Ciao for now, everyone.